created everything. Look what a powerful being you are. You did these things, but now you're in a human body, you forget the power you have.
What you do is what the whole universe is doing at the place you call here and now. You are something the whole universe is doing in the same way that a wave is something that the whole ocean is doing.
You're doing it.
Doing what?
Using your imagination.
Welcome to Metamystics, home of the mystical, magical, and otherworldly. My name's Jonathan.
I'm Sean.
And today is going to be a very, very fun episode. We were actually supposed to have a guest, but there were scheduling complications. So, you know, we never come here empty-handed. There's always something fun to talk about in the mystical and magical and otherworldly, of course.
Yes, dude. That's why we do this. You know, I feel like we need this space because we spend so much time just contemplating certain things. And so there's always something that's just on the mind, you know?
100%. And I do want to say happy Beaver's Moon to everybody that is listening to this on the day of the Beaver's Moon.
First time hearing of it. And that's the thing. It's funny because I didn't even realize like there was so many different like names for these things. But yeah, it's good to be learning them in real time with everybody else, you know? Never knew there was a Beaver's Moon.
Who would have thought? You know, we're still learning.
I like it.
We always say you don't know what you don't know. And that's the thing is with every full moon does come a name of that said moon. I believe last month was the Hunter's Moon. And, you know, these are just types of names. And then they have like the Harvesting Moon, which I think might be the Hunter's Moon. I get those mixed up. Anyway, a bunch of different moons that are, you know, like guided almost in ancient form as so that you can see what when they looked up at the night sky and they saw the moon, what were they thinking whenever they looked up at that moon at that direct time, at that direct place, you know? So that's what we're going to be getting into as far as that goes. And so I did want to kind of give a little shout out to that, but we're going to be talking a little bit about that towards the end of the episode. So, get ready.
Sounds
it's gonna
good,
be
Ben.
It's gonna be jam-packed.
Real quick, I wanted to mention something, and I thought of this just the other night, but did it seem like October went by like in 2 weeks? Like, I don't know what it was, but I felt like it was like I was excited because I was like, oh, it's October. Awesome. It's one of my favorite months, you know? And then all of a sudden, Halloween's over. And I'm like, what happened?
Dude, give it 2 more
Maybe
weeks.
that's just me.
Give it 2 more weeks and Christmas will be over, you know?
I know. No shit. Yeah. Exactly.
It's weird. Yeah.
I don't know. I thought I mentioned it. I didn't know if it was just me or if other people kind of felt the same, but time is weird like that.
It do be. Yeah, it's strange. I feel like they might be messing around over at CERN or maybe the controllers of the Matrix are kind of hitting the fast forward. I don't know.
Yep.
But yeah, it is strange. And maybe it's just us getting older. But we're not that old. I mean, if that's the case, when we're 70, you know, weeks will go by like minutes.
Yep. You just wake up and then all of a sudden it's the next day. You know, it's funny because I remember Nan used to be like, oh, the days are just getting shorter and shorter, you know, and I was just thinking like, man, one day she's not even going to be able to fit in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, man. Classic. Anyhow, all right, look, this is what we're going to get to. Actually, the episode, and I'm sure you can see from the title of the episode, we are going to be talking about the magic of clairtangency, psychometry, and even a little bit of psychic archaeology.
Love it.
Dude,
I love it.
You want to talk about literally trying to connect energetically and spiritually to literally everything. If you are walking around like, yo, this meat suit is temporary, I'm a spiritual fucking being, let's start acting like one on a literal, not even a day-to-day, you know, basis. I'm talking about on a second-to-second basis. You know, and Jacob used to always get on me. He would always say, oh, does everything got to be spiritual to you? I'm like, yeah, it does. It does. Okay.
It is now.
That's the way I want to look at it. And to be honest, whenever you're doing that, it takes you away from judging so much because you know that judgment is a separator. Whereas if you're trying to connect with something spiritually or energetically, that is only bringing you closer to understanding what it is, what somebody's feeling, you know, that whole thing. And I think that that's just the right way to go about it. Maybe it's a little third eye going in there. I mean, it's just about trying to look at this perceived mundane reality and see the magical underlinings of it.
Absolutely, dude. And ultimately, every time you look at something and you start to have that feeling like of judgment, or maybe just that sensation of peace kind of dissipates a little bit. It's really, and this is just how I look at it. And maybe it's because we talk to people like optimistic and of the sort, but whenever I go to judge something, I just look at it as something that I don't like about myself, or there's something inside of me that's causing me to feel a type of way for that particular thing. Because in all actuality, like, the objective reality of whatever that is doesn't have any real inherent meaning or anything like that. And so it's me that's putting that meaning onto it that I don't like. And I mean, you can argue like, well, yeah, there's people that do really harmful shit, and like those are things that we can all agree on that are probably unfavorable things, but there's other things that we don't need to be bothered by. We kind of put ourselves through that. And so, yeah, when you look at things like that and you look at everything like that, it's like, just makes it so much easier to understand why you don't want to judge everybody.
I mean, and that's why they say judgment is a sin. Maybe if we were to look at what a fucking sin was, we might be able to understand it to its deeper core. Well, why is something, if a sin is a real thing, if we're going to look at it like from kind of a third eye all the way open kind of situation, if a sin is a real thing, then you would imagine that you're looking at something in an anti-spiritual way. Mm-hmm. Because sin would be that little gap in between you and the other person called judgment, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong, but
you and all that is divine. You know what I mean? Really.
Right. Because if everything truly is a mirrored image of us, then whenever you look at anything else that's outside of you and you're judging it, mm-hmm. It's taking you away from what you naturally are, who you naturally are, and mm-hmm. it's making you feel a little bit disconnected. Maybe you mm-hmm. go back and maybe instead of being on 5G or Wi-Fi, you go down to, dial up or some
exactly.
shit.
Exactly. Think about it like this. Your higher self isn't looking at everything in the worst possible way. Your higher self is looking at everything in the absolute purest, best possible way. And so you could say you're just the farthest version away from your highest self whenever you're doing things like that.
Well, and what is that connector called, sir, other than, not to sound lame, but love? Because if you love everything, you're never going to judge it. Like, if you actually love it, and I mean mm-hmm. feel it, express it, imagine it to the absolute fullest, as if like there is no separation between you and that thing. That is where we're going to get into with this whole clairtangency thing, because it's not only people that you can do that with, mm-hmm. it is objects.
Yes.
Right. And maybe if you touch it and you really try and connect to it, and there is no separation between you and a crystal or whatever, mm-hmm. right? Whatever. It doesn't even have to be anything like a magical thing. It could be this microphone, whatever. Right. Yep. And you're really trying to connect with it like you're not separated from it. But what if you were this microphone? Mm-hmm. And what if you were that crystal? And you know what I mean? Like, mm-hmm. maybe there's a little something to it. Like, if you're, just to get a little weird here, if you're looking at a, I don't know, let's just say an emerald, right? Okay. Looking at an emerald, which is my birthstone. It's my favorite one, but that's why I picked it. But let's just say you're looking at an emerald, you're trying to connect to it. And I'm just guessing here, but what if you tried to imagine that your consciousness was in there and that is how you experience life at this moment? And maybe you get in there and you're like, all right, well, why am I green? And, mm-hmm. Why am I this kind of crystallized form? What makes up my genetic atomic kind of structure? Why am I carbon-based? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's these ways of almost peering inside the consciousness of whatever that may be. If everything truly is consciousness, if everything is, because if every single thing that you see in this reality is part of the one, then that means that there is nothing that is not consciousness, right? Just like whenever you go into a dream, whenever you sit down at that chair and you sit down at your kitchen table in your dream, whatever, right? That chair is a representation of something that you're making in your mind. That's not a real chair. Nobody actually built that, right? So that chair that you saw in your dream is a part of your subconscious. So it's not necessarily anything that is separate from your subconscious. And if we look at all of this reality almost as a one giant consciousness, then maybe there's a little bit easier of a way to be able to connect to it rather than looking at it like it's an inanimate object.
Right, right. And we've talked about this before as far as, trying to put your consciousness in other things, trying to get like a different perspective. Maybe it's a hawk in the sky, and you try to just imagine what that would be like. I feel like, the the imagination that goes into that, I don't think it's really that far off from probably what that experience would actually be like, and I don't know. I guess it's hard to tell, but I mean, who knows, dude?
Dude.
We're all one, and it's just consciousness, and you're just shifting whatever that is to something else. I don't think that's that crazy.
I mean, it's fun to play around with the idea of everything being consciousness and everything being one consciousness. But what happens whenever you actually put it into practice and you start looking through that lens as an actual reality? Then holy shit, does this place become like just like we were talking about, like if everything is really just one thing, it's like then literally the earth, everywhere you are is your temple at that point. Right.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
So, and that's where, witches and wizards and druids and warlocks and magicians and other, spiritual practitioners, that's how a lot of them have looked at the world. And, hey, those people were kind of suicided for a reason, I would say, just to throw it out there.
For sure. Definitely.
So anyway, let's get over to clairtangency, psychometry, and psychic archaeology. So, Sean, have you ever picked up an old photograph and felt something?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest. I mean, maybe, I'm not sure, but just as of late, I've tried this. I go to secondhand stores, Goodwill, places like that. And I've actually tried it, and I got to be honest, I haven't really felt anything unless I'm doing it wrong or I'm getting in my own way, which is probably what's happening. But yeah, I can't say that I've ever actually felt that, but I know that there's people that it just seems to come so much more naturally, for sure.
And if other people can do it, and if it's all one consciousness, that means that you can.
Right.
And just mathematically.
And exactly my point is that I haven't gotten to the point and not because I've refused to, but I don't think I've put enough energy and time into even the idea of that. But if I ever started to, and I really just accepted that as part of this reality, or even just my reality, that is what makes that possible. The seeing without your eyes. Like, I've already accepted in my mind that that's something that is possible. And so I know that if I put enough time and energy into that and awareness into that, it's going to happen. Like, in my mind, in my reality, that's going to happen.
It's instead of, looking at it as I wonder if this works and converting that to I know this works, let me try and figure out how to do it.
Yes.
Like there's like a level of maybe and absolutely. You know what I mean? And that maybe I think is ultimately the thing that's holding you back. Not you, but people in general.
Right. And I think there's also levels to it as far as like your interest in a particular clair, like the whole seeing without your eyes thing to me is it just seems like the coolest one imaginable. With Henry Sugar, he puts the blindfold on and starts riding a bike and he's waving to people and calling them by their name. And it's like, who doesn't want to be able to do that? And so, I mean, you pick the one that you enjoy the most or you think is the most interesting or would be the most fun to do. And maybe that's the one you're most excited about. And so you're just naturally going to put most of your energy into that particular one.
And to be honest, the big reason as to why we talk about a lot of these, obviously it's each one of these like magical abilities and the ability to connect in all these different kinds of ways. I mean, you would have to spend a lot of time on one just to master or even semi-master one of them, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's important to get this kind of stuff out there because if you don't know that it's possible, then maybe you never even look into it and you never try it.
Yeah, because I imagine most of the people, if they weren't taught this, growing up, they probably experienced it slightly just by accident. and went, whoa, what was that? And then it kind of just developed over time because they started investigating it. But most people probably don't know that any of these things are actually possible, or that some people are actually achieving these things. And so just putting it out there, I think is going to, just putting it in the awareness of people is going to give at least the people the opportunity to investigate for themselves, because I think naturally people are going to just be better at some things than others. For sure.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you're a better basketball player than I am, and I'm a better football player than you, or whatever, right?
Absolutely.
There's certain tendencies that, excite us about something that gets us more, excited to better our craft and stuff like that. But
Right.
I feel like, and maybe some people pick this up in a week and some other people pick it up in a couple of years. It's not to say that, anybody's better at it. It's just that, all of our brains work so different, and
Right.
what clicks in my mind may not click in your mind and vice versa.
Right. And it's not so much to say, like you said, that someone's better than someone else, but it's more so like if you're really struggling with that one thing, well, then maybe that's not the thing that you would probably be best at. Like try something else,
Because there's a smorgasbord of possibilities out there.
Absolutely. We've been doing this for 2 years, dude,
And not even graze the surface.
Mhm.
So yeah, a little bit of clairtangency. So, if you've ever picked up something old, maybe a photograph or an old object or something, maybe what you saw or felt was a chill or a flash or a wave of emotion that you just knew wasn't yours. Or maybe you held a piece of jewelry and instantly knew the person it belonged to without ever meeting them.
Wow.
That's interesting.
I think the coolest thing would be to pick something up and actually having like an image just kind of flash in your mind, or your third eye, just like, what was that? Rather than feeling like, oh, I feel like somebody owned this, they were old or whatever. Like it'd be cool to have like an image of maybe the person or an image of someone's house. And then you start to think about that and contemplate, and then the story kind of just builds itself, within your mind. I don't know. I think that'd be the coolest.
I think so. Yeah, it's very interesting to do this. And now I will say that there probably has to come a level of discernment, if you don't know how to separate your ego from the other side, then you're almost inserting like, what do I want it to be? Like, instead of trying to be right, that just imagine and be open to what comes to you.
Right.
Don't try and get out in front of it. That's where a lot of people make mistakes, is trying to get out in front of it. And it doesn't pay to be first. It pays to be right.
Right. Exactly. There was that dude that was just recently on Joe Rogan. He was talking about as far as like your lens of reality has been built by like the models of different things that it's kind of put together to kind of fill in your reality. And so you don't want to put your model of reality directly onto that thing, because it's just not going to be right.
Right. Well, and that's where like a lot of people, and I've learned not to bet on the Steelers. It's just never a good idea. I'm always going to bet that they win, but it's because I want them to win. And so if you're really trying to like connect to whatever the energy of the game is, for example, or whatever the energy of the team is, then you're not going to be able to get to that information if you're inserting your ego and your wants and your needs and stuff like that. So that's really where the whole idea of like trying to scoot the ego aside, trying to scoot what you want to believe is true aside, and just allow the download of information to stream into your consciousness and just allow it to happen. It's a surrender. It's the hanged man. That's where you got to be in these kind of situations.
Totally unbiased. Right.
Yes, 100%. So that is clairtangency, also known as psychometry, the ability to read the residual energy imprinted on physical objects. It's the art of touching the past, the science of vibration, and the mystery of memory that matter itself carries. Witches call it object reading. Mystics saw it as the touch of the soul. And modern physics is finally catching up, suggesting that everything from a wedding ring to a stone holds data in its atomic lattice, waiting for consciousness to decode it.
Dude.
What the fuck?
Because that's the only thing that could, you know what I mean? It's just waiting for consciousness to interact with it, because otherwise it's just a ring.
Yeah, nothing special.
Right.
Exactly. So tonight we're going to explore how clairtangency works, how to awaken it, and what it means for the boundaries of space and time. We'll dive into the psychic mechanics of touch, the echoes left in objects, and how energy never dies. It just waits for someone sensitive enough to feel it. Because sometimes the past doesn't speak in words, it speaks through vibration and the hands that remember what the mind forgets.
Interesting. Interesting. I always wonder, just because we're speaking on this, as far as like the information that has been imprinted on a specific object, it's like, I wonder what interactions from like other dimensions could play on that. You know what I mean? Like because wherever so like I'm sitting right here, right? But like in another dimension, there's other things happening through me and everything else. And so I'm wondering if there's something to do with that as well.
Very
Like
well
where
could be.
you are when you meditate, you're in a different location. And so maybe in that different location, there's something else happening within some other dimension that you're not aware of. And so that could possibly interact with your energy and such. I don't know. Just a weird thought.
Hey, dude, I mean, that's what we're here to do, just to explore all the different possibilities, and what all the potential energies are that you need to be aware of. Do you need to be aware of multidimensional energy? Do you need to be aware of, the way that the stars are structured in the sky at the exact moment of where you're sitting at right now? And, maybe there's a certain date that corresponds to the energy of wherever, whatever it is you're experiencing. And then, of course, you have to add in your astrology chart. Like, what are you to experience today? And how do you know what to look for? And there's so many different factors. And that's why there are literally legit, there's like hundreds of different psychic things that we can learn.
Right. Modalities, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So,
psychometry is just one of them. So today is psychometry. And now I pulled up an article from Wikipedia. And just to see what Wikipedia, some people like to call it Wickedpedia, because they like to look at everything like fake and, debunking and whatnot. But
I have a feeling they're going to say something like, there's nothing really going on there,
Well, here we go. In parapsychology, psychometry, also known as token object reading or psychoscopy, is a purported form of extrasensory perception characterized by the claimed ability to glean accurate knowledge of an object's history by making physical contact with that object. Supporters assert that an object may have an energy field that transfers knowledge regarding that object's history. So that's the story behind psychometry, just to lay it all the way out there so everybody kind of gets the feel for it. So it sounds awesome. And it actually, if you really think about it, sounds legit.
Dude, the most legit evidence that I've seen, and I mean, I guess I call it evidence, but I mean, who knows, right? Like when people go to look for somebody that's been kidnapped or someone's missing, right? And then the cops, they kind of lose hope and they're like, all right, well, let's go to a psychic because we, what do we got to lose at this point? We don't have any leads, so they let the psychic touch some of the clothing that they found at the crime scene or whatever. And then lo and behold, they end up finding where the person was stashed or, even though it's just, they found the body, it's like unfortunate, but it's like, what is that? How are they able to even come up with a location at all, let alone the correct one?
Yeah. I mean, this could be like early remote viewing. Like if you can learn to do this, then remote viewing might just come that easier kind of thing.
I think they're both one and the same, actually.
Yeah, pulling from the same string for sure.
Yes.
But of course, Wikipedia has to say that there is no evidence that psychometry exists, and the concept has been widely criticized.
See, they need to watch the documentary I watched because that was,
shun the non-believers. So, the where the term was coined as psychometry, surely it goes back way farther than this. The ancients, they were a lot more in touch with, your physical surroundings and objects and stuff like that. But the coin was called psychometry by this guy named Joseph Rhodes Buchanan in 1842. So psychometry, which he meant measuring the soul.
Oh,
that's pretty cool.
Okay.
So Buchanan,
like the world soul,
yeah, just the soul of whatever it is you're putting your hands on,
Yeah.
the energy that's emanating. So, but, and as we go here, Buchanan developed the idea that all things give off an emanation. I wonder if he was a Neoplatonist.
Probably. Yeah.
Would make sense. So it says the past is entombed in the present. The world is its own enduring monument, and that which is true of its physical is likewise true of its mental career. These are words from James Buchanan. Okay. The discovery of psychometry will enable us to explore the history of man as those of geology enable us to explore the history of the earth. There are mental fossils for psychologists as well as mineral fossils for the geologists. And I believe that hereafter the psychologist and the geologist will go hand in hand, the one portraying the earth, its animals, and its vegetation, while the other portrays the human beings who have roamed over its surface in the shadows and the darkness of primeval barbarism. Aye, the mental telescope is now discovered, which may pierce the depths of the past and bring us in full view of the grand and tragic passages of ancient history.
Wow.
Stud.
Interesting.
Yeah, like this guy definitely tasted a magic mushroom in his day.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
Yeah, so Buchanan asserted that his particular psychism would supersede empiric science. He wrote a comprehensive treatise called The Manual of Psychometry, The Dawn of a New Civilization in 1885, just a year after he coined the term, detailing how the direct knowledge of psychometry would be applied to and affect the many various branches of science. This is one of his quotes in the book. It says the thermometer measures caloric or thermotemperature. The barometer measures the weight of the atmosphere. The electrometer measures the electric conditions. The psychometer measures the soul. In the case of psychometry, however, the measuring assumes a new character, as the object measured and the measuring instrument are the same psychic element, and its measuring power is not limited to the psychic, as it was developed in the first experiments, but has appeared by successive investigation to manifest a wider and wider area of power until it became apparent that this psychic capacity was really the measure of all things in the universe.
Wow. You are the measurement tool, so to speak.
Yeah.
You think about it. And it's interesting, actually. It actually gets me to think about what you were saying earlier as far as like consciousness being in everything. And if you think about it, like if you have, let's say, because usually it's something that's important to somebody, that really probably has the most energy coming off of it. And if you think about it, it's probably more like the relationship that somebody would have with a specific item, right? And so not even unknowingly, like they love this ring because they got it from the grandmother or whatever it is, and so they have this specific, that like their consciousness has a specific relationship with this item, and maybe that item has some sort of consciousness within it as well, and so it's like some sort of symbiotic or some type of relationship that you're having with an object. And so if you are to read the energy of a specific item, you're really, it almost seems like you're just using the same thing that was used to build that relationship in order to kind of remember what that relationship was, and that's how you're getting information.
Dude, and people know this to be true. I mean, even if they just call it a superstition, but they always say, never buy a wedding ring from somebody who got a divorce.
Right.
Like,
it's almost already been imbued with a failed marriage,
Exactly. And people will be like, maybe you'll ask somebody like, why though? And it's just like, well, it's like maybe they carried that energy, and it's like, it's actually understood amongst a lot of people, even if they only look at it through the lens of superstition, that, that there's a piece of them that believes that, and that could be the hindering kind of asset that tells them not to get that ring.
Right. And it's like, who's to say, maybe just strictly the energy itself from that item, maybe it would influence it, your marriage, but probably not quite enough. But if you knew, like you said, and believed that is the case, and that's just that extra layer of like the energy that's already there, which maybe maybe it's 15%, that it'll actually have somewhat of an influence on your marriage, let's say. But then the belief in that ring being from a failed marriage just adds like another probably 50%. It's like, oh.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, look, if you're the thermometer, it's the thing that is measuring you know, the what is it called? You know, whatever is in the fucking, why can't I think of it? The red liquid inside of mercury. Okay.
Right.
It's like there are two kind of observing devices in a thermometer. There is the thermometer that is showing you exactly like what the bar it goes up to, like what temperature gauge it's going up to. And then of course there's the mercury. And so if you look at yourself as the casing of the thermometer for every object that you touch that would represent the mercury, you know, now it is encompassing both of you. And so both observations are working almost in unison at that point. And so, you know, I would guess it's probably less likely that you get a divorce if you buy a ring that somebody got divorced with if you didn't know about said divorce. Both of you have to not know that. And I would imagine there's percentages, you know, if one for one person, one for the other, it's like maybe, but if neither one of them knew it, I mean, maybe your chances are a little bit better because one of the measuring devices inside that thermometer is unaware.
Right. Exactly.
Just
like
guessing.
You're the measuring tool and the battery of the belief. Right. And put those together. And who knows, maybe that shit just isn't going to work out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So fun stuff to look at. So Buchanan continued to promote psychometry throughout his life, and his followers believed that it would revolutionize science in a comprehensive way as, in quotes, the dawn of a new civilization. So he really believed in this.
Wow. Yeah.
So Buchanan's work on psychometry was continued by the geologist named William Denton from 1823. He died in 1883. So in 1863, Denton published a book on the subject called The Soul of Things.
Ooh,
that sounds awesome. Their work was criticized by Joseph Jastrow as based on delusion and wishful thinking.
Of course.
Somebody's disconnected.
Yeah.
You know, others such as Stephen Pearl Andrews, who promoted psychometry along with his own new science called universology. Interesting. Built upon Buchanan's ideas. As a lecturer, Andrews asserted that such inquiries, as paraphrased by an 1878 New York Times article, in quotes, demonstrated the sympathy between the mind and body is an exact science.
Oh, all right.
The sympathy between the mind and body is an exact science.
Wow.
Which kind of does make sense. I mean, you know, we look at the science that there is today and compare it to alchemy. You know what I mean? In one, they included the spirit. The other one, they don't.
Yeah. It's like whenever we talk about science and things like this, it's like they never really talk about certain people, you know, like Einstein or, you know, there's probably several, you know, that had some sort of download and all of a sudden just kind of understood something that everybody else would never think of, you know, and maybe given some time, you know, if that person never developed that thing, then somebody else would have eventually got, you know, that download or that thought or that epiphany, you know. And so I don't know, whenever something like this happens in science, they never really talk about that, you know, the synchronicities that one went through before all of a sudden they had their eureka moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and a lot of people never get there. You know, just based on their own belief system and their own shit that they got going on in their lives. And I will say that there is absolutely something to the spiritual world. I mean, whether you want to believe it or not, because, dude, I just watched a video, and this isn't the only because, but this is a reason. So I just got done watching a video, and I can't remember what country it was in, but there was this woman who had like a tumor growing in her stomach. Have you seen this video?
No, I haven't.
So this woman has this fucking tumor that is in her stomach. And like inside. And so they took a CAT scan of it, and you can clearly see that there's a tumor right there. And they held it up, and they held that picture of the tumor up to the current screen of her stomach currently, right? Like, what's that thing called where they put the jelly and, you know, for the pregnant women?
Yeah, I don't know what that stuff's called.
Whatever
and I should.
that is.
I should. My wife uses that stuff, but yeah, jelly, I guess.
Well, you get what I'm trying to say. The little scanner that they use to see the baby.
The ultrasound.
Ultrasound.
I thought you were talking about the jelly specifically. That's on me. That's my bad.
I mean, I just assumed that it's like fucking just regular jelly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, so they had the picture of the tumor, the still picture, and then the video of currently what was going on inside of her stomach and all this, right? They brought in a couple of monks in there. This is going to get
I
fucking
like where
wild.
this is going.
They brought in a couple of monks into the operating room, and it was just monks chanting and chanting. And the thing is that the woman had to believe the chants and the affirmations that were going on. It has to.
Of course. Yeah.
And you have to allow that to come in. And obviously more people around, maybe the stronger it gets energetically, right?
Exactly.
And so I can't remember exactly what they were chanting, but it was somewhere along the lines of, you are healed and it is done. You are healed and it is done, in another language, right? You're healed and it's done. You're healed and it's done. You're healed and it's done. And the woman is hearing it and believing it and thinking it and just trying to connect to it. Dude, you can literally see in real time that tumor shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking down to fucking nothing.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So 100% that there is something going on here. Some people might just say, oh, that's just a placebo. Fuck that. No, you can't call that placebo right there, dude. No way.
I mean, even if you wanted to call it a placebo, like, we need to start giving placebo some more credit. You know what I mean? You're still healing yourself with your mind because you believed in it. Like, that's it. You know?
Well, I mean, Big Pharma ain't going to benefit from that, so.
Oh, man. I remember one time, and, you know, and I still try to talk myself out of believing that that's what happened for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know why I do this, but I was having a really bad, I think it was when you stubbed your toe, remember? And I had a really bad pain in my toe, like the next day or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it was hurting, dude, for, I forget how long, for a good minute. It was really bad.
Like a week?
And maybe longer. I don't even know. It was really bad. And to the point where it was like causing me to limp, you know, it was my big toe. And we did a meditation, and I don't know if it was the Om meditation or one of those. I think it had some healing aspect to it. Like, I think that was why we clicked on it, and that's the one we chose. But by the time we got done, or not even by the time we got done, while we were meditating, I felt like this bubbling feeling, almost like I don't know, it was a super strange feeling in my toe. And no shit, dude, like the next day it was better. You know, and so I don't know, maybe just the idea of me listening to something could heal an ailment, and just believing in it, you know, caused my body to react.
Well, and that's why I've gotten to a point where I'm very much less inclined to just tell people that their religious beliefs are wrong, you know, because look, if it works and you're calling on Jesus and praying to Jesus and saying, and you're getting like actual results from it, who am I to tell you that's wrong?
If you're happy, yeah, dude, if you're happy and everything's going well, like, good on you, man. That's your reality. What do I got to say about that?
Now, whenever you start judging others for not believing what you believe, then that's where the issue comes in. But that's another story.
Yeah.
So let's get back to it. So in the later 19th century, demonstrations of psychometry became a popular part of stage acts and seances, with participants providing a personal object for, in quotes, reading by a medium or psychic. It is also commonly commonly offered at psychic fairs as a type of psychic reading. So it's pretty common.
Okay. Yeah.
Very,
real
very
quick, just to get back to the whole healing aspect, even in certain religions, they got people chanting and doing things, saying that you're healed, and all of a sudden they got people walking. I don't know. I mean, I guess anybody can kind of fake that, but I'd like to believe that it's the same thing happening. You know, it's drawing from the same force or one, you know.
Yeah, I think so. And it's just about trying to connect to the true nature of who you are, and who you are is everything. You know, it's like deconstructing the nature of your own reality through only your eyes, and looking at it as the whole of everything. That you are, yes, you're only a drop of the ocean, but you're the ocean in a whole drop kind of situation.
Yeah.
So
just a matter of remembering that. You know, easier said than done sometimes, I think.
Right. Oh, and by the way, the reason why I'm not sharing the articles right now is because whenever I go and make clips, this is just a little behind the baseball. Whenever I go and make clips, it looks terrible, and it's hard to clip.
We're like
because we're so
small.
tiny. Yeah.
Right.
And so I'm like, all right, maybe I'll just read the articles. Y'all can just trust me. I'm going to give the shout outs for the websites and all that kind of stuff too. But just wanted to, in case anybody was wondering. So now we go to Gaia.com, one of the best. And Gaia says, psychics and archaeologists solve history's mysteries.
Oh, it's solved. All right. I like it.
Solved, yes. Now, if there's a picture or a video, obviously I'm going to share.
course.
But as for the reading, I'm reading it for you. You're not going to read it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
I prefer to see your face anyways, if I'm being honest.
unless you're like me and you can't hear the TV without the subtitles. I get it.
There's something to that, dude.
Oh,
I think it
100%.
comes with age as well.
Dude,
you know,
that's like my main gripe about going to movie theaters.
no subtitles.
There's no fucking subtitles. How am I going to hear this? But yeah, anyhow. So it says archaeology can be frustratingly hit or miss. Years of tedious digging can lead to nothing. Many discoveries occurred during construction, excavation, road building, and recently by drone photography that reveals soil and vegetation disruption over ancient sites. While most academic archaeologists dismiss psychic research methods for locating ancient objects and sites, others use them with great success, pinpointing exact locations for excavation. So now we're going to get into a couple examples of successful automatic writing, psychometry, and remote viewing in archaeological research.
I love it. I'm ready.
How about that? Archaeology. And this isn't a new thing. This shit goes back a couple hundred years.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the dowsing rod, and how you were talking about you yourself is the measuring device. It's like you're just holding a piece of twig, really. Like, and back in the day, that's all they were using, and so it was just a matter of like almost their intuition. I feel like that has a lot to do with it. And then they slightly, maybe unknowingly to them, they slightly release the twig, and it goes down and points to the ground. Oh, this is what the water is. But they needed the twig to add that sense of belief.
Yeah, well, and in essence, it's like you're the boombox and it is the tuner.
Right.
Otherwise known as water witching. So
love it.
Gotta give that shout out. So anyhow, the first person, or one of the first people to talk about this, is Frederick Bligh Bond. I don't know if it's Bligh or Bliff or Blig, Bligh. Anyway, so we're just gonna call him Freddie Bond. So Freddie Bond was a 19th century British architect, archaeologist, and illustrator. The son of an Anglican minister, Bond was also a member of the London-based Society for Psychical Research. Okay.
All right. Just had all the talent, huh?
I guess so. It was a busy man. It was back before they started putting GMOs in food, I guess. But he was dedicated to understanding paranormal phenomena such as telepathy and ghosts. Bond designed school and university buildings, a hospital, and once a pub, over time becoming the UK's foremost expert in church architecture and restoration. He was also fascinated with gematria, a Kabbalistic system based on the esoteric numerical value of Hebrew letters and words. By applying gematria to measurements of medieval religious structures, Bond discovered sacred symbolism designed into ancient churches, chapels, and abbeys, even if they were a little more than ruins. So he would look at this guy was in the 19th century, so he would look at, ancient buildings and churches and stuff like that, and he would be like, yo, there's gematria in here, dude. It's like too perfect not to be.
I mean, even in the pyramids, I think I heard something like, and who knows if this is even accurate, but there's like the actual speed of light somehow encoded into like the measurements or something like that of the pyramids. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know if that's true. I mean, how could I really know? But I heard this somewhere, so take it with a grain of salt. But I mean, how could they have known, how fast light was moving, right? I mean, or you can call it a coincidence.
Look, if we are, and this is why I do not believe that the people of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 years ago were just cavemen, speaking in grunts. I'm not going with that. I believe that we were a lot more connected to our spiritual selves. You think about it, every single night you're laying underneath the stars or you're always working outside. I mean, dude, air conditioning is very new in the annals of history, right?
Right. And so in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, you're not going to be sitting inside with all that dead air all day long. You're going to be out gardening or milking your cows or your goats or, picking up the eggs or whatever your craft was. Most of it you were doing outside. And the home was just really a place where you ate and slept. For the most part.
Right. Which is actually really interesting if you think about that, as far as how far technology has come just in the last, 150 years or so. It's like why is it that pyramids were being constructed and the ability to be able to do that was a thing way back in the day, but air conditioning barely came along like within the last, I mean, I don't know exactly what year, but like you said, not very long ago. You know
Oh,
what I'm
dude,
saying?
it
Like,
was up until
what was it, do you think happened that all of a sudden we were just like trying to come up with shit? You know, was there really thousands of years where people were just kind of like just chilling, doing whatever, hanging out in the nothing box, and then all of a sudden someone comes along like Newton and figures out something, and then it just rapidly pushes everything along. You know, I don't know, like what happened.
well, and this is where you can potentially base it on the Yuga cycle. You know, are there certain cycles that was it like 25,000 years or something like that? Every 25,000 years, there seems to be some kind of like new awakening
Gift.
in humanity and
Right.
whatever. Maybe it's based on that. Because I believe, and I could be wrong on this, but like most houses, even in the 60s, didn't have AC.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like that was a relatively new thing. I
Yeah,
mean, less
yeah,
than 100 years ago.
So what was it? Maybe it's something like you said that all of a sudden we were just like pushing for advancement. You know, I think war had a lot to do with that as far as trying to
Yeah.
figure out technology and this and that. So if there was anything good that came from war, then it was probably just trying to push as far as we could as far as like technology goes. But yeah, I don't know. It's just so strange how many years went by before all of a sudden we're like, you know what? Like cars would be good. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's a matter of convenience more than anything. You know, people probably got
sure.
tired of being on horseback for a week to go 3 states or something like that. It's
Probably
like,
longer than that. Yeah.
you know, so I'm pretty thankful for that. You know, I mean, it's not to say that all technology is bad. Like, I mean,
No.
look, if it wasn't for FaceTime, I mean, imagine a world without FaceTime now.
I mean, we're doing FaceTime as we speak. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I mean, they had Skype for a little while, but Skype was kind of shitty. And
Right.
but you know, Zoom and they got a bunch of other ones. Riverside is a good one too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just an entirely different world, and I think that people have kind of, I don't want to say succumbed to convenience for convenience and laziness sake. Maybe that's the case, but maybe we're kind of just like burn out for like working for the man and you know
Yeah.
trying to live up to even our own expectations and trying to live up to, you know, we want to have nice things and we want to be able to have like all the different subscriptions to you know like Netflix and Hulu and all those different things, and eventually everything starts to add up, so you're almost putting yourself into a form of enslavement in order to just maintain your level of lifestyle, whereas back then you weren't doing all of that. You were just doing enough to get by. Maybe you had a cow, a goat, a couple of chickens, and you made your own flour. And I mean, I don't know when that was pretty regular, but like, imagine how much simpler of a lifestyle it was. And then somebody was like, yo, I got this. I actually created this machine that washes your dishes for you. Like, who's not going to jump all over that?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just, you know, just to look at that optimistically, I feel like, you know, just I wonder where this goes as far as where we are now. Not to get too far off topic, but this is something I've just thinking about right now is, you know, like where does it go from here? You know, if we are, let's say because we are more comfortable, right? And maybe we're not using as much energy because we have AI or we have certain things that make things easier. So then I wonder, hopefully, you know, we're saving energy mentally and now we're able to shift even into another level. You know what I'm saying? Something higher than this. Hopefully we don't go the other way.
Well,
That's what I'm more worried about.
I mean, and not to get conspiratorial, but if the powers that be had their way, we absolutely would be going into like a technocratic future, and Black Mirror-esque kind of things. Because if you think about it, all the different ways that they try and make you lazier and make you slower and make you less ambitious and all of these different things like the chemtrails, the all the different chemicals and the food not being real. And you can say that it's just, well, hey, you got to find a way to be able to feed everybody kind of thing. I'm like, I don't think so, because I might be crazy in saying this. The government doesn't care that much about your teeth that they're just going to put fluoride in your water for your health. Like,
That can't be the only reason they're doing that, though.
the
Right?
fuck out of here with that, right? So, and that's why it's so important to, you know, have anti-fluoritic things, and you know, health is just as important as discovering, you know, your sensibility to spiritual stuff, right? Like, and that's whenever you're like, all right, well, maybe I got to start eating a little bit better. Maybe I got to start drinking cleaner water. Maybe I got to, maybe get a little exercise, get out in the sun. And these are all things that are just connecting back to the natural aspects of what we used to be. There wasn't fucking Fruity Pebbles 200 years ago. There wasn't like food dyes and all this other junk that we're consuming on a daily basis. It's only once we separate ourselves from that and kind of get back to the roots of what it means to be a human that you really start connecting with all of that, the special ability kind of stuff, being able to touch something and be like, oh yeah, of course I know what this is because I don't have the Wi-Fi beaming into my fucking neurons. You know what I mean? I don't have all of these different things that are kind of defecting you. And so that's why it's so important to understand where, I don't even want to say the term, but like maybe it's important to understand where you're being attacked so that you know what to do to build kind of a defense mechanism up against it. And then you can truly start working on it, Right.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a bunch of different modalities to this.
I imagine Sri Yukteswar wasn't eating Fruity Pebbles. You know what I'm saying?
Probably not. Probably not. That's probably how he was able to maintain such a beautiful figure in his astral body.
And just bilocate like nothing.
Yeah. So anyhow, let's move on. So then we get into your boy Freddie Bonds. Was it Frederick? Yeah, Frederick Bonds, Glastonbury, Edgar Chapel discovery. This is crazy. So, in Glastonbury in Somerset is home to the ruins of a magnificent 7th century abbey. Archaeological investigations show the area had been used or inhabited by occupying Romans and Saxons. While the site has a significant place in church history, it is also connected to Arthurian legends and is said to be the site of King Arthur and Queen Guinevere's tombs. So the Anglican Church invited Bond, with his deep knowledge of church restoration, to direct archaeological digs at Glastonbury in 1908. Thus began the paranormal field of psychic archaeology in modern times. By combining his two passions, ancient religious sites and psychic exploration, Bond invented the controversial discipline, much to the dismay of academics and scientific method-based archaeologists. Bond and his friend John Bartlett, another SPR member, devised a plan to attempt to make contact with long-dead Abbey residents via automatic writing. Glastonbury, the supposed site of the mythic Avalon, held other mysteries. After his crucifixion, the Gospels state that Christ's body was entombed by his disciple Joseph of Arimathea. A wealthy man, Joseph, I believe Joseph of Arimathea is his uncle. I could be wrong on that, but if you listen to other stories, Jesus had a rich uncle that helped him travel to all these different places and helped him learn all of his Buddhist cities and all this kind of stuff, right?
Mystery school stuff, right?
So Joseph had kept his devotion to his teacher hidden from authorities, and centuries later, legends placing him in the midst of Arthurian Grail legends and Glastonbury history emerged. Some people believe that Joseph accompanied Mary Magdalene, said to be Jesus's widow, and their child Judah to the British Isles. This is where history starts to splinter. Right?
All right.
Because supposedly Jesus died a virgin, and then you got other stories where Jesus and Mary Magdalene, they coitusized or whatever the term is, and they made some babies.
All right.
So those legends continue to swirl around Glastonbury to this day. So it's not like maybe it is a crazy myth, but you're still talking about roughly 2,000 years ago.
Imagine that, though. Like, Jesus had some babies, right? Like, there's a lineage of people that are actually from Jesus. Can you imagine? And that actually makes sense why they would be like, no, he didn't have kids. It stops here.
Well, and that's where you get to the theories of the what is known as the Merovingian bloodline, which is said to be the bloodline of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And so whenever you see dude, if you look at a lot of royalty, they always try and keep it in the family. It's because they're trying to maintain that bloodline. So maybe they're, I don't know if they're doing it with their sisters or whatever, but maybe they're second cousins just to keep the bloodline intact.
That's strange. I think royalty in general is kind of strange.
Yeah.
Like there was a clue on Jeopardy not too long ago, and they were like, the first king of this country. And I was just thinking about that. And I was like, so before that, they just didn't have a king. And all of a sudden, some guy was just like, I'm the king, and everybody was like, Yeah, I mean, I guess he's the king, you know? I don't know. Isn't that just weird when you think about it?
It is weird, but I mean, so is having a president.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I guess.
I mean, the
don't
president
know.
has more pull than any one individual, you would say.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not more
Yeah.
than certain corporations or certain factions within
But
the
to call
government.
someone royalty, you know what I'm saying? That's like, I don't know. It's like self-proclaimed, like, I'm royal.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, what made you royal? You know, like, I don't know.
Well,
Maybe I just don't know enough about history to make that make sense.
They're usually sanctified in a sense of like they are blessed by God to be put in that position. So it's like that's why so many people revered Queen Elizabeth, because God put her in that position.
Right. Okay.
You know, like it was like divine shit that was going on. And hey, look, God said that Queen Elizabeth should be the queen.
Right. And you don't question that. You know,
Right.
Questioning that is questioning God.
Well, it's this. Right? It's the same conversation with the Pope and other stuff like that. It's like these people are getting high on their own supply. But anyway, no shade thrown. All right. So Bond wanted to find evidence of the lost Edgar Chapel founded by Joseph of Arimathea on the site of the Abbey ruins. So in November of 1907, he and Bartlett, using the automatic writing method, stated the question, in quotes, they just wrote this down: "Can you tell us anything about Glastonbury?" They had no idea who might respond, but an answer came back: "All knowledge is eternal and available to mental sympathy."
Oh, dude. See, Akashic Records, dude.
Fuck yeah, dude, exactly. So many sittings and conversations later, Bond and Bartlett had coordinates for where to dig for the chapel foundation. In fact, there was a building foundation precisely where Bond directed workers to dig. And eventually, Bond's methods and discovery exploded into a maelstrom of controversy. Church and academic communities turned their collective attention on debunking and denying the truths of Bond's discoveries, blasting Bond for employing, in quotes, pseudoscience. The facts of the discovery were overlooked in favor of campaigning to discredit Bond and his methods. Wow. He literally found it using automatic writing and got downloaded coordinates, and they're like, no, you know what? That's a coincidence. You just guessed right. Get the fuck out of here with that.
You know, like, you're really good at your coordinates and you knew something beforehand and you're tricking us, you know?
Crazy. So that's just one of them. Another one, and this will be, I believe, the last instance. No, there's a couple more. Okay. So the next one is called the Sterkfontein Caves. And this is going to be involving psychometry. So the last one was automatic writing. This is psychometry. So in 1936, South African paleontologist Robert Broom found a skull in the Sterkfontein Caves, classified as Australopithecus. Damn, I think I crushed that. Yeah, the relic was evidence of a 3 million year old extinct species on the human evolutionary ladder. Despite his rigorous scientific training, Broom was also a medical doctor. Broom had deep doubts that about Darwin's theories that we evolved from monkeys, right? Yeah. He believed in a spiritual force that directed evolution. He said, as a paleontologist, that he was guided by disincarnate beings and was led to the discoveries by his unorthodox method. See? Like, this is not crazy. This shit's been going on for a minute. Yeah. So later in the 1940s, so that was in 1936, in the 1940s, fellow South African John Talbot Robinson, also a paleontologist, accepted Broom's methods. Working together, the colleagues went on to discover more of the Australopithecus fossil bones. Later, Robinson brought Jeffrey Hodson, who is a psychic and a member of the Theosophical Society, to the caves to assist with research. Hodson went on to write, in quotes, clairvoyant investigations published by the Theosophical Society. So in his 1982 field notes, Robinson wrote that during sessions with Hodson, he would place fossil specimens on the reclining psychic's forehead. Oh, here we go, dude.
Right on the third eye. Just plop it on there.
Let's go. Even though Robinson randomly used different artifacts, he said of Hodson, he never misidentified a specimen or gave conflicting statements about a specimen that had been presented more than once. And as far as I could determine, his information was always accurate, and he gave me a strong impression of complete reliability.
See, that's incredible, man. And I believe that. I believe, like, because I can imagine having that happen. Like I can imagine, and no matter what ability it is, I can just imagine that some people can just do this stuff, and it just comes so natural, and they probably don't even think that it's that crazy that they can do it. It's just like, oh yeah, it's a thing I do. Like, and then I don't know why you can't do it, type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know?
it's really strange. And you know what, this is kind of a weird thing, and I can't remember what it's called, but I have this friend, and her dad is every time he hears a name, a flash of color comes up, right?
See, I'm yeah,
So, obviously, like I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And so obviously our sports teams are always associated with us, the Steelers, obviously the GOATs of NFL, but, I'm just kidding. So whenever I first moved to Louisiana, this is back in Louisiana, but whenever I first moved to Louisiana, everybody called me Pitt. Nobody called me Jonathan, right? And it was just a fucking easy thing to remember, right? And so that's how all my friends would introduce me to their parents and whatever, right?
Yeah.
And they would say, they went up to the dad and they were like, "Hey, what color do you see whenever you see Pitt?" And he goes, "Well, that's an easy one because I just think, black and yellow." Right. But other people, like if he would say the name Seth or Destiny or Jacob or whatever, there was always a hue of light that he pictured in his mind around the name.
Right. See, and I believe that too, because even you had that ability, like for a brief moment when we were, hanging out with a little bit of little Forago infused, and you were saying that every time I said something, you could see like a color coming out.
Yeah.
Wasn't that? So was it always a different color, or like how was that working?
Oh, I mean, it was like evolving into other colors.
Right. Okay. So and just imagine that he has that ability, but without Forago. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't seem that weird to me. It's just something that he can do.
Dude, it's crazy, but it's real, And how are you going to tell somebody they're wrong? I mean, it's aura reading, essentially.
That's all it is, dude.
Man. Anyway, so the next part we're going to get to is remote viewing in archaeology. Then we're going to get back to psychometry. This site kind of grouped them all together, and I understand why, because it's playing in the same field.
Yes.
So Stephen A. Schwartz, author of a book called Secret Vaults of Time, explored remote viewing as a valid archaeological research method. He goes, "I always approach remote viewing with the question, can you do something with it? I don't debate whether it's real, but how can we use it?" Right. I love people with that open mind right there. Yep. So originally Schwartz, a distinguished consulting faculty member of Saybrook University and a research associate at the Cognitive Sciences Laboratory, wanted to use remote viewing to find black holes, but needed access to a research telescope to confirm the findings. Oh, I can already know this is going to get weird.
Yeah.
So when he found out that he could not access high-powered telescopes for a cognitive science experiment, he turned to archaeology. He goes, "I was looking for a double-blind opportunity." He said, archaeological discoveries are often simply serendipity. A farmer finds something in a field during spring plowing. Artifacts are found in road cuts during highway construction, and so on. But he wanted to improve the methods, wanted to improve the odds of discovering with remote viewing. So in his research, he discovered that ancients described methods identical to those used today. So in the 46th chapter of Herodotus, Herodotus's Histories, there is the first outbound remote viewing, and it was done exactly as it would be done today, a double-blind outbound protocol. Dude, they were doing this shit way back in the day.
They knew what was up, dude.
You're talking about Herodotus, dude? That is a fucking while ago, right?
Yeah.
So Herodotus wrote that Croesus, and I could be butchering these names, I'm sorry, Croesus or Croesus, the king of Lydia, now called Turkey, learned of a Persian plan to invade his country. The Persian army outnumbered the Lydians. Croesus sent emissaries to the 7 oracles of the ancient world. He instructed them that on the 100th day after their departure from Lydia, they were to ask the oracles, "What is King Croesus doing?" So they wrote, they were to write each oracle's answer. Only one gave correct information. This was part of the test, right? The Delphi Oracle reported a vision of a lamb and a tortoise in a cauldron. On the 100th day, Croesus had indeed built a fire under a cauldron in his courtyard and put a butchered lamb and a tortoise inside, exactly as the oracle had described.
What a coincidence, dude.
And at first, you're probably like, a lamb and a fucking tortoise. What's that got to do with anything? Right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's why you don't question. You just go with it. I mean, it might sound
out
weird.
Of 7, one was right. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, well, and that's that just reminds me of Psychic Shannon. You know, like she's like, look, I'm just telling you what's coming to me. I don't know who's it for or what's it supposed to be, concerned with, but this is what I'm getting. And that's where it just comes with being open to whatever you're receiving.
Yeah, that's called not getting in your own way.
So Croesus,
it's what we're doing more times than not, I bet.
Oh, 100%. We are the filter. Like, that's just the fact. So Croesus, and sorry if I'm butchering that name, Croesus went back to the Delphi Oracle asking the outcome of a war with Persia. She said, if you cross this river, a great empire will fall. Interpreting the prediction incorrectly, Croesus and his army indeed crossed the named river, believing his own empire would prevail due to his view of the Persians being richer, stronger, and more powerful than the Lydian Empire. Unfortunately, it was the Lydian army who lost the war. So Schwartz learned of Bond's discoveries at Glastonbury using automatic writing, but went on to research other examples of psychic discovery. He researched Polish experiments carried out with Stephen Ossowicki, an engineer with psychic abilities. Ossowicki and his cohorts carried out 39 experiments to discover the prehistoric origins of Poland. Given that this was during Nazi occupation of the country, these were dangerous endeavors. Another example, and this is like proved experiments. They were able to find it all out, right? Another example is Canadian archaeologist named C.S. Reed. Working with remote viewer George McMullen, in 2 hours they located an Iroquois site. Reed had been searching for the site for 2 years. Schwartz was able to find more than 10 examples of archaeologists successfully partnering with remote viewers using non-local consciousness. There are countless examples of archaeological discoveries made with the assistance of any number of psychic methods: dowsing, psychometry, clairaudience, etc. And as of yet, no one has found a limit to the applications for these abilities and techniques.
Wow. That's incredible, man. And I feel like and this could be a weird thing, but I feel like that's probably something that's happening with like alien abductions. I feel like people are probably remote viewing, putting themselves in these places, these strange and unusual spaceships or whatever it is. It's almost like they're just remote viewing that. And I'm not trying to say that anybody that's been abducted wasn't really abducted, but I just feel like a lot of people, when they describe their abductions, they're like, well, I went to sleep and then all of a sudden, you know what I mean? So they were like in that other altered state of mind when they experienced something like this.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, who was it that said it? Gloria Canning. An experience is an experience. Whether you experienced out of body or in your body, it's still an experience to you. Now, people will say, well, that's not real or this ain't real, but to the individual, it's all real.
Absolutely.
And that's the important aspect of it. Now, to say that, it doesn't mean that if somebody receives a message from the other side, that message was even necessarily for you. 99 times out of 100, I believe, if not 9,999 times out of 10,000, it is directly for them.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So anyhow, I want to get over to, now we're going to talk a little bit for psychometry for beginners. Your guide to reading objects. You're trying to figure out how to do it? Here we go. I just wanted to lay the outline, that it has been done. What is it and that kind of stuff before we get to learning how to do it.
Documented. Wikipedia is like, nuh-uh. Like, what? Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's just the problem with academia in general. Not even saying that, Wikipedia is that, but academia, they usually try and go in line with what academia says, and academia has to work within borders, unfortunately.
Yeah. It is what it is, man.
So psychometry, a word derived from the Greek term psyche, meaning soul, and metron, meaning measure. So it literally means soul measure. to measure the soul
Okay.
of something, right?
Okay. Yep.
Is an intriguing practice that involves the acquisition of information about a person or an event through physical objects. This fascinating method has captivated enthusiasts of the paranormal and spiritual communities for centuries. In this guide, we will explore the basics of psychometry, its history, how to get started, and tips for honing your skills.
All right. Let's do
All
it.
right. So, what is psychometry? Just a little brief overview. Psychometry is often referred to as object reading or psychic reading. Practitioners, known as psychometrists, believe that every object carries its own energy or vibration. This energy can be influenced by its history, the people who have handled it, and the emotions associated with it. By holding an object, especially one with personal significance, a psychometrist claims that they can tap into this energy to gain insights about the object's past or the person that may be connected to it. The experience of psychometry is often described as intuitive or emotional rather than intellectual, obviously, right?
Of course. We know this.
It can manifest in various forms like visions, feelings, sounds, or even physical sensations. While skeptics may dismiss psychometry as mere coincidence or intuition, I don't know how I could see dismissing coincidence, but
Intuition.
Intuition. I don't know how you dismiss that.
It's just misunderstood. That's all. We're not there yet.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. Well, the we, as in the grand we.
the collective, right?
Right. Many practitioners and believers view it as a legitimate extension of human perception, which I think you would have to if you're really trying to do it, you know?
Yep.
So we already talked a little bit about the history of it and whatnot, but it's real short. We can go over it. The history of psychometry can be traced back to the early 19th century when it was popularized by American psychic Joseph Rhodes Buchanan. Buchanan was a professor of physiology and a pioneer in the field of psychical research. He conducted experiments that led him to theorize that objects absorb vibrations from their surroundings. Since then, psychometry has been explored by various cultures and practiced by many notable figures in the spiritual community. From mediums to paranormal investigators, psychometry has been used as a tool to communicate with spirits and uncover hidden truths about people's lives. Ooh.
Love it.
All right. It's almost like looking at every object as if it's like an Apple AirTag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
A little
it's
memory
like,
card.
yeah. And then you hold it and you're like, I am the iPhone that's reading this now. You know? You know what's funny too? I found this out. How about Elon Musk was trying to make the term telepathy or telepathic his.
What?
He was trying to make it his. Yeah.
No. You can't do that. You can't do it. You
Not
can't,
allowed. Sorry.
You know? Yeah. We didn't
Yeah.
sign off on that. Dude.
People were just trying to go around like making
Just
words
taking
theirs.
shit. Yeah. Well,
Dude, it's the same thing as
it's
LeBron.
like something a billionaire would do, though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude. LeBron James tried to coin the term and make it his. To where if this term that I'm about to show or say to you, it's pretty ridiculous. But he wanted to literally get paid every time it was mentioned on TV and every movie and social media and everything. Right? The term Taco Tuesday. He wanted
What?
that. He wanted to earn that term. He got shut down, obviously.
You didn't come up with that.
No, he didn't. But he wanted to make
I
it
can
his.
understand if like you came up with something, like you actually put a few words together that had never been strung together and said, that's my trademark. Like I can then see like, okay, well, I guess that's his thing, you know, but even then it's still weird.
It is really weird. I mean, you're trying to own words now.
Yeah.
So
Can't
silly.
do that.
So anyhow, getting started with psychometry. Here we go. Number one is understanding the energy. So to practice psychometry effectively, one must first understand the concept of energy in relation to objects. Everything is made up of energy, and this includes not only living beings, but also inanimate objects. The energy shifts when someone interacts with an object, leaving traces that can be accessed by sensitive individuals. So, I mean, you always talk about being empathetic. What happens if you are then empathetic to objects, inanimate objects, rather than just individuals?
Right. And it's a matter of shifting your awareness because I feel like when I'm around people, like it's turned on, right? Like I'm just aware that other people are, you know, living their lives, having their own thoughts, and like it's just a thing that's happening. But whenever it's an inanimate object, it's like almost like I have not even tried to think of it that way, you know? So it's just a matter of turning that switch on and going, okay, this is like a person as far as like energy and how I feel other people, but it's inanimate.
Right.
You
And
know?
I actually think that that whole empathy episode like perfectly goes with this episode because
Mhm.
in order to really connect, you kind of got to come from the heart chakra or the heart center or whatever and
Yeah.
look at it in a loving way in order to connect with it, you know?
Yeah, I think that's one of those episodes that's just gonna kind of linchpin everything else and build off of, as far as doing these types of things, you
For
know.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Because being an empath, I think you have to understand yourself too. That way you have that discernment, and so it just kind of really locks you into just the understanding and awareness of that. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would say that discerning yourself is probably the most important part if you're trying to
Mhm.
put to use any of your empathy, your
Right.
psychic empathy.
Mhm.
So next, once you got a decent understanding of working with energy and feeling energy and knowing that everything is energy or an emanation or it's all one, right?
Mhm.
Then you want to choose your objects. So to begin your journey into psychometry, you'll need to select objects that resonate with you personally. Start with items that have significance in your life or those belonging to someone you know well. Here are some examples. So jewelry, obviously, rings, necklaces, etc. This is what most people try and do psychometry with. I'm not going to lie. It's crystals and jewelry.
Yep.
Or you can do clothing items, personal belongings such as wallets and keys, collectibles such as books and toys, and photographs. So it says it's best to avoid items that are too emotional or traumatic initially until you build your confidence.
Okay. All right. So don't go too far with it right out the gate. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I tried doing this. I lost my wallet like 2 months ago, and I sat in meditation,
Trying to
just
remote view it.
trying to, and maybe maybe I actually did succeed, but in another way because I did kind of get a download of like you're losing your old identity.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Right.
It was
yeah.
like trying to look
That's
at
cool.
it from like a glass half full, silver
Symbolic
lining kind of
sense.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good way to transmute that. I
Because
guess.
it was only a week later that I moved to Arizona. You know?
Right. Holy shit.
Yeah,
Damn.
so very strange.
Mhm.
So nextly, once you are holding the item, you want to create a comfortable environment. So your surroundings play a crucial role in your ability to connect with an object's energy. For sure. Like these things just make sense, don't they?
Mhm. Oh, absolutely.
So you want to find a quiet place where you can focus without distractions. Consider dimming the lights or lighting candles to create an inviting ambiance. You might also want to play soft music or use essential oils for aromatherapy. Both can help set the mood and enhance your ability to tune into energies. It's like,
okay.
it's the reason why people light incense. You're trying to get to, it's like Happy Gilmore's happy place.
Right.
you know?
Exactly. And just reduce really all of the other stimuli.
Yeah. Get into a place to where it's like, that like that smell of that specific incense or that lighting or, the people that are in the room or the place, it's like you want to make sure you're absolutely comfortable. That way you're not picking up on anything that is in the exterior,
Yep.
Then obviously you would want to ground yourself. So before initiating your reading, it's essential to ground yourself to maintain balance and clarity throughout your practice. You can do this through various techniques such as deep breathing, meditation, or visualization exercises. Envision roots extending from your feet into the earth. This will help you stabilize your energy. Have you ever done that? Like we've done a lot of meditations like that. And
there's something to that.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, I don't know, maybe I have a good imagination or whatever, but like, I swear I feel roots fucking coming out of my feet and like anchoring into the earth.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember feeling that sensation of like a tree being so strong, like no matter how strong the wind is, the trunk of that tree isn't going anywhere, and just imagining that. And like, I am so grounded, like I'm an immovable object.
Good luck, tornado, removing me from this.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I ain't no trailer park. I am,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
I'm an old ass tree.
Yeah, dude.
Been there for a minute.
I'm the fossils of the cow that got sucked up into the tornado. So then you want to get to the process of object reading. So once you're grounded, once you got yourself in a decent place and the ambiance is straight, then you get to it. So it says, now that you're prepared, let's dive into the actual process of psychometric reading. Here we go.
Okay.
I love
All right.
these. These are like super witchy and exciting, and this is so much fun.
Yeah, I got my stepdad's old pocket knife. It's like an old
Like a Swiss Army
knife. Yeah.
Hell
So
yeah,
I'm gonna
dude.
be trying it right now.
Good idea. Yeah. So, step 1, hold the object. Begin by holding the object in both hands. So, take a moment to feel its weight and texture against your skin. And you'll want to close your eyes if this helps you concentrate better, because you're trying to get away from the physical reality. You're trying to connect to its energetic imprint, right?
Okay.
Step 2 is to clear your mind. Take several deep breaths and clear your mind of any distracting thoughts. Focus on being present in the moment and open yourself up to any impressions that may arise. So whatever comes, let it come in, no matter how silly.
Okay.
Step 3, tune in. Allow your intuition to guide you as you tune into the object's energy. You may experience different sensations such as warmth or coldness, tingling sensations, or even vivid images flashing before your eyes.
I was actually, before we even got into this, because I was just like, and I'll just hold this as he's talking about it. And I actually kind of felt on both arms, I kind of felt like, I don't know, just a difference of sensation, like up to like the middle of my forearm on both arms. So I don't know.
Damn.
Maybe it's something, maybe it's nothing. I don't know.
It's probably
I don't know how to
something.
do it yet, so we'll see.
All right. So once you're tuned in, you want to record your impressions. So as you receive impressions, whether they come as words, images, sounds, or feelings, be sure to jot them down in a journal before they fade away. These initial thoughts flow freely without judgment. So later analysis will come after you've recorded everything. So don't even like, dude, why am I picturing an elephant right now? Why am I picturing like, a goat that is like skiing on a rainbow? Doesn't matter. Don't even sit there and think about it. It would be sick.
Right.
But don't sit there and think about it. Like, just observe it and don't even have any emotion towards it.
Right. Don't start questioning and second doubting yourself already.
Yeah, just let whatever comes come, and then later you can be like, dude, that was weird, but not in the moment.
Yeah. What was that? Well, I was tripping.
And it's just like young Starwalker said. It's like, dude, the moment you are exacerbated or excited or anything, it pulls you out.
Yeah.
So try and refrain from doing that.
Yep. Stay in it. Stay locked in.
Yes, right? Locked in. Yes, fourth quarter mentality.
Yep.
So then step 5, and this is the final step, reflect on your insights. Once you've gathered all impressions and insights from the object reading session, take time to reflect what you've written down. Look for patterns or themes that emerge and consider how they relate to yourself or the person connected with the object.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool.
The thing that I would find difficult, just right off the bat, is as far as like being an object from somebody that I know very well, because then I'm already
applying that
thinking
already.
of things. Yeah, I'm already applying that. I'm already thinking of things that remind me of him. But I guess, the feeling of that sensation going up my arm, was before I was really before I started doing that. And so I don't know, everything after that, I guess, after I had the thought of, oh, well, I already kind of know this person. And so everything after that was kind of like things that I was throwing onto it, I think. But before that, just the sensation of the arms, I felt like it was just like a knowing that, because he was like he worked with his hands and everything else. And so maybe there was something to that, but I don't know, something to maybe develop, but there was definitely something, and I know I wasn't making that up.
Shout out to Bob the Builder. But
yes, dude. Yes.
But yeah, it's and he even looked like Bob the Builder, which always cracked me up.
Right. Yeah. He always saved the day, dude.
He did. But, even with that, you want to take away your preconceived notions of what you might come in contact with, because that's still the ego that wants to be right. This is not about being right. It's just about receiving information.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And so that's harder. It's obviously easier said than done. Right. Like, you already have this connection to Bob, and you already have this connection to this object, and what he probably would have done with it and stuff like that. You got to set that aside, because that's your logical left brain thinking. Right.
Yeah.
Obviously that is ego right there. And there's nothing wrong with ego. But every now and again it needs shattered. Just want to throw that out there. But
yes.
But this is not about trying to tap into the ego. This is about trying to tap into that, that openness side of you that, hey, I don't know, but I'm willing to receive it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So, and then these are some tips for developing your psychometric abilities. So you would want to practice regularly, right? So like any skill, regular practice is essential for improvement in psychometry. Set aside dedicated time each week for readings using different objects, and this consistent engagement will help strengthen your abilities over time. Another way would be to work with others. So team up with other fellow beginners interested in learning psychometry too. Sharing experiences and feedback not only encourages growth, but allows meaningful discussions about interpretations and insights.
Yeah. See, that would be really cool. If everyone brings an object and you just kind of like trade objects, and now you really don't know who had this before. And then you just start automatic writing certain things, certain thoughts that just kind of pop in your mind. And then come to find out one or two of those things was actually pretty spot on, and then you're like, oh, okay, well then there's something to it. Then you really, you've done it already somehow, some way. You've tapped into it somehow. So now you just keep doing it and you just build that muscle and become more familiar with it. Now it's a comfortable thing, and it's not so much, oh, am I really doing it? And then now you're just doing it.
Dude, you know what I was thinking? There needs to be, and I'm sure I know for a fact that there are schools out there that kind of go through training programs and whatnot, but man, it would be so sick if we could like give Marv a last name one of these days. And, because whenever you think of something magical, you think Hogwarts, right? Like, oh man, it would be so awesome if Hogwarts was real. And like I said, there are other things, but what if we gave Marv like a last name, and then that would become the school? You know what I mean? Whatever that is.
Absolutely. I'm with it.
That'd be fun. So yeah, you want to team up with others. You also want to keep an open mind. Approach each reading with curiosity rather than skepticism. Big one. Right. That's a huge one. So an open mindset invites new experiences and expands your understanding of what may seem difficult at first. And then, of course, you'd want to document your journey, maintain a journal dedicated solely to your psychometric readings, detailing dates, objects used, impressions received, and their outcomes over time. It'll provide insight into patterns while tracking your progress.
Yeah. See, and that's what that one neuroscientist was saying, as far as like your brain's really good at picking up patterns, and so if you are in your mind, something's impossible, your brain's not even going to go there. It's not even going to allow that into your reality bubble, and so once you realize and you do something and you realize that that it can be a part of your reality, now your brain can start to pick up on those patterns, a new set of patterns.
Yes, 100%. And that's the thing. It's you have to keep on practicing. It's not because everybody wants their thing now, especially in the day and age of like short length videos that, the average, I don't know if you know this, but the average view time across all TikTok videos, it doesn't matter if they're 1-minute videos, 30-second videos, 10-minute videos.
5 seconds.
6 seconds.
Oh, I was close.
You were close.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And so most people are, they tend to give up on something if they are not like automatic attention caught. And so this is why practice is so useful, because it keeps you bringing back and coming back. It teaches you a little bit of patience. You know what I mean? And like, it's very important to try and hone in on skills, because most times I would imagine if we're talking about anything psychic, you're not going to get it the first time. You know, like even just trying meditation. I know people that have been trying to meditate for years and still just can't get it. Like they just.
And that's the problem, because they're trying to meditate.
Yes.
That's part of it, I think.
Well, yeah, and you hear other people's stories about how they're able to astral project and remote view, and so you're trying to almost jump like 15 chapters on day one. And the idea is just to like, once you get to that point in meditation to where you're able to separate you from yourself, that is like the biggest win that you can possibly get to in meditation at first off, initially, right? Like, whenever you're able to see, I'm observing me. That's crazy. And if I'm observing me, what am I?
Right. What is exactly that I'm observing? You know what I mean? I'd say, people try to go out of body and all the stuff that you were mentioning. It's like, if you can just get your heart rate to slow down and you're only breathing like a few times a minute, Like that's where you should let's make that the first goal. And once you can do that, now you've already got it in your mind that you can alter your own biology just by something you chose to do with the mind.
Oh, dude.
And I think that's a great first step.
And you hear about yogis who have mastered meditation. They bring their heartbeat down so low to where their heart literally beats 5 times in a minute.
Oh my God.
5
Is
times.
that real?
That's like borderline death, bro.
Oh
Like,
my God. I didn't
yeah.
think that was possible. Like I was just like, bring it down just a touch. You know what I mean? You got high blood pressure, like chill out a little bit, but I didn't know that was possible.
Dude, actually Gene Simmons mastered this himself without even going through any kind of like mystery schools or anything.
Really?
Yeah, Gene Simmons of Kiss, right? And I remember watching a documentary on him and his wife. I think they used to have a show together or something like that.
Okay.
And it was like Gene's Family Jewels or something. I can't remember. It was something like that.
Is he the one that actually lived in Arizona? Or
I think so. Yeah, I think you're
Okay.
right. Yeah. So Gene Simmons, he like obviously because Kiss was like most popular in the 70s and a little bit of the 80s, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that was during a time where there was a lot of drugs coming in, all the cocaine, all of the acid, you know what I mean? And, heroin was starting to be a big deal around that time and a bunch of other things. And obviously there was a lot of drinking involved. And so he would say that he would try all these different drugs and all these different drinks and everything, and it would cause him to like have crazy anxiety. And he would feel like, my fucking heart is about to beat out of my chest with all this cocaine or whatever, right? And he was able to like to almost as a defense mechanism to keep himself from having a heart attack or dying. He would just go in and lower his heartbeat just by calming down and getting into a meditative stance.
Wow.
And he said that
Just
he goes,
naturally, he just knew to do that,
And dude, they put him on one of those lie detector scanners because it measures your heart rate and all that other stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, at first his heart was speeding because he was behind a camera and it was for a show and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And the guy was like, "Oh, your heart's going really fast." And just out of nowhere, once he said that, Gene like got to his happy place and he's like, "Whoa, how did you just control that quick?" And he was like, "Lots of years, brother. Like, I almost died several times. I had to do this to
all
survive."
the cocaine, I had to do something,
So
Wow.
it's not that crazy,
Yeah. No, of course not.
So, all right. So we talked a little bit about clairtangency, psychometry, and stuff like that. I have one more website that's going to get into a little bit more here. So if you're trying to develop your clairtangency, these are some more kind of tips and tricks. So it says, this is from wispygypsy.com. So shout out to them.
Right. I like it.
It says, while some people naturally possess clairtangent abilities, others can develop this psychic sense through practice and awareness. Here are some tips for enhancing clairtangency, which, by the way, they say that this clair is the most rare of all clairs.
Really?
Yeah.
See, it's one of those ones that you wouldn't even think to do,
Why would you?
Right.
Yep. So, right. So it brings up the mindful touch. It says practicing mindful touch can help you attune your sense of touch. Pay attention to the textures, the temperatures, and sensations you experience when touching different objects or people. Meditation and visualization. So regular meditation can help quiet the mind and heighten your sensitivity to subtle sensations. Visualization exercises where you imagine feeling different textures or energies can also help strengthen your clairtangent skills. So imagine it in your mind before you even touch it.
That makes a lot of sense as far as the meditation aspect. Because when you go into a meditation, and it's one of my favorite things as far as like you'll just have a random thought, and then you kind of just like think about that for a little bit. Then that kind of evolves and turns into something else. And you're just kind of on the ride at this point.
Watching a story unfold.
So imagine allowing those random thoughts that don't even seem like it came from you. It just kind of manifested and now you're thinking about it, right? But you're holding some item. Now you're like, okay, now maybe that thought is a keyword for the item I'm holding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily your thought. It's just things that came to you, so like that actually makes sense.
Which it would make sense if, and maybe there are people out there that they don't need to meditate for 15 minutes before they get their hands on an object. I'm sure some people are a little quicker at it, a little faster at it, but the sooner you can get to separating yourself from your thoughts,
Hmm.
the easier it would be to connecting to the energy of whatever it is you're trying to hold.
Yeah, yeah. Those people have already fine-tuned their discernment between themselves and the other.
Yes, yes. So obviously, and then it writes, keeping a journal,
Okay.
which, of course, you need to document what you're experiencing and stuff like that. And then practicing psychometry. So to develop your psychometry skills, practice holding various objects and noting any impressions or sensations that you receive. And over time, you can refine your ability to accurately interpret these impressions. And then there is energy awareness. So engaging in practices that enhance your awareness of energy, such as Reiki, Qigong, or other forms of energy work. I said Qigong,
Right.
can help you become more attuned to the subtle energies that you sense through touch. Yeah, I feel like
Okay.
Reiki is, dude, if you can master in that.
That's some hands-on shit right there.
Right, right.
You're literally putting hands on somebody.
Which, shout out to the other Sean, old Grimbowski. He took up animal
Reiki, right?
Yeah. Wild. So cool.
He was telling us that story where he like threw like an energy ball at his cat, and his cat just took off and started having the scoots. You know what I mean?
Grimbowski. What a character that Grimbowski is.
Oh, dude, he's fun.
We got to get him back on soon, I think.
Absolutely. And then it's funny because I was just thinking earlier while we were recording, we got to do like another ghost episode. Like what's going on with that? We got to get somebody that looks into that stuff.
For sure. Yeah.
He's kind of our guy for that.
He's our guy. Yeah, for that, for sure. Because he goes out to like cemeteries and, haunted ghost towns and houses and all that kind of stuff.
That would be fun, actually, I think.
It would be fun. Yeah. So then it says there are challenges and considerations with this. So clairtangency, like other psychic abilities, presents unique challenges that require careful management and understanding. So you want to be able to interpret sensations. So understanding the meaning behind the sensations that you experience can be challenging. Developing your own symbolic associations and trusting your intuition in interpreting these messages is important. For sure.
It's very subjective, man. You experience something with your hands, let's say, and then you already start putting your own flair on what that would mean. But like that's just your interpretation, and so who knows?
Well, and then there is distinguishing sources. So it says sometimes it can be difficult to distinguish between physical sensations and those experienced through clairtangency. Practicing discernment and paying attention to the context can help clarify the source. Good note. And then the final challenges and consideration is managing sensory overload. So for some, the heightened sensory perception associated with clairtangency can be overwhelming. Learning grounding techniques and setting boundaries can help manage this sensory input.
Oh, okay. That way you're not taking on energies and things that you're not wanting to, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And then they have a couple of practical applications. This will round out clairtangency. So clairtangency can be applied in various aspects of life, offering significant benefits and enhancing personal and professional relationships even. So there are healing professions, obviously, that clairtangents are naturally suited for careers in healing professions, such as massage therapy, energy healing, or body work, whether their empathetic abilities can provide deep physical and emotional support. Empathy plays into all of it, right?
It does. Yeah, it does.
Then there's the personal relationships. Clairtangency can foster deeper connections and enhance communication. Understanding and sharing in the physical and emotional experiences of loved ones can create stronger, more supportive bonds.
Okay.
I think that comes with it.
Yep.
There's the intuitive readings. So clairtangents can use their abilities to provide intuitive readings, offering insights into the history or energy of objects and people. This can be particularly useful in psychometry or mediumship practices. And then we have the creative expression. So many clairtangents channel their sensory experiences into creative endeavors. Such as sculpture, textile arts, or other tactile mediums. This can provide an outlet for processing sensations and sharing their insights with others. So, In the end of it, clairtangency, the psychic sense of clear touch, offers a profound and unique way of connecting with the physical and energetic experiences of the world. While it can be a powerful tool for healing and understanding, it also requires careful management and self-care. By developing mindfulness, practicing meditation, and setting healthy boundaries, clairtangents can harness their abilities to enhance their lives and the lives of those around them. As we embrace and cultivate clairtangency, we open ourselves to the deeper physical connections and greater understanding of the energies that shape our experiences.
Nice. I love it.
All right,
I
so
love it.
clairtangency, psychometry, I mean, you a believer in this?
Yeah, dude, I am actually, as far as, because we just covered the whole empath episode. And so, when you're tapping into that empathy, you're literally reading the energy of a room. And so it's really not that crazy to me that you can do that with an object. I feel like I only haven't done this already because I haven't even had it in my awareness that was something. I mean, I know we've covered it before, but it wasn't something that I actually just paid attention to and said, you know what, I'm going to try it and I'm going to just continue to do it. And I think that's all that really holds people back is I feel like people probably try it, doesn't work out, they give up. And that goes for anything that you try.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you put enough time and energy into something, you're going to probably get something out of it eventually.
You're always going to be better on day 10 than you'll be day 1 on anything.
Yes, and on day 10, you will already forget the struggle that you had on day 1 because you've already advanced to a level that you know what I mean? You don't even understand the troubles that you had on day 1. And it's just exponential like that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, not to sound lame, I mean, it's going to sound lame. But I started watching this season of Love is Blind.
I haven't.
Oh
Yeah.
man, what a fucking dumpster fire. But
Is it?
Because it's all younger people,
It's so weird, right?
It's weird
The way that their
because,
minds work, you're
oh
like,
my God,
oh my
so
God, what?
simple.
Why are you worried about that? Like some of the things that they're worried about, it's like that's just dumb.
Right, but I was like, man, there's no way I was this stupid back in the day. And then I started to think like, I think I actually was.
Yeah.
Like
You just don't remember being where you are now.
You don't remember the way that your mind was processing certain thoughts. You had such a small skewed view of the world and your understanding of it. Yep. And I don't know, I was just thinking about that the other day. I was like, dude, this show is borderline cringy and because of how simple-minded this is.
It's funny because I actually had the same thought because my wife and I watched it, I think last season or the season before. And I just remember thinking that, like, why are these people thinking that the way that they do? Like, why are they worried about these little stupid things? And like, but of course, like you said, they're young, and so like that version of you that was probably somewhat like that, like you're not even that person anymore.
Oh,
you're
dude,
a completely different person.
And think about the hills you used to die on at that age.
My God.
So stupid.
Yeah. No shit,
and I was thinking like, because I'm at that point in my life to where, I'm a single man and all this whole not to get, too behind what's going on in my life. But like whenever you watch shows like that, you're imagining like, all right, what are the questions that you would ask to somebody on the other side of the wall? Like to really see if you can connect with them, and I'd be like, all right, what is your experience in tarot? Like just, and automatically
you're all, hello, they just walk out.
yeah. They're like, I'm religious and that's witchcraft and God says no. So I'd be like, all right, well, on to the next. I mean, you sounded
not
awesome,
opening
but
that door.
Unfortunately, just can't. So
you're missing out though.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So, all right. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking, so that we don't get the energy and the readings confused, I want to do a tarot reading for the show we just did on Clairtangency. And then after we get that reading, then we'll do the beaver moon kind of reading and certain rituals that people can do on, underneath that full moon. And then we're going to get a reading from my Moonology Oracle deck.
Okay. Sounds good.
It only makes sense.
It's funny too, actually, because I already pulled the card. I pulled the card before we started recording. Like, and I never do that, but I was like, I just want to see if, time doesn't even matter. Like if this card was going to come up regardless of how the show went. And, I want to say I knew what the topic was going to be at that point, but I got the Ace of Pentacles, and it's kind of interesting because it's a hand holding something.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, holding the
And so-
pentacle.
So yeah, that's kind of cool.
Ace of Pentacles. Well, look, we're big fans of pentacles around here. That usually means some kind of wealth. Doesn't necessarily mean, monetary wealth, but wealth in general. So the Ace of Pentacles, a prosperous new beginning is unfolding for you. Be open to receiving gifts from the divine.
There you go.
Like
There you go.
psychometry.
Yeah.
The Ace of Pentacles bears the gift of a new beginning rooted in the element of earth. Here we see the hand of the divine reaching through the clouds to offer a golden coin with a pentacle on it. Beneath the coin, there is a beautiful garden with lush flowers blooming, a symbol of great abundance and prosperity. Here in the garden, you have everything you need to ensure success. Take what you need as you venture beyond the floral archway and out into the world, trusting that you have planted seeds that will take root and ground you through any of life's challenges. Man, there's a lot of key words there that we kind of just brought up.
Yeah, dude.
The spiritual message says you are following a new path of self-care and wellness that leads to vibrant health. Another thing we were talking about.
I need that. Yep.
Keep an eye out for new opportunities to create stability and wealth, such as an inheritance or generous gift. All right.
I'll take it.
Well, and it's the ace means it's the first card, right? It goes ace, 2, 3, 4, whatever. And so ace being 1, always symbol, it's like the magician is also 1, right? So if you're just looking into the numerology, the magician also carries the same energy as all of the aces.
Right.
Because it's always the beginning of the journey, because the fool is card 0. There's no step that's made yet.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the one, dude. Everything's connected. So if you're trying to connect to the energy of an object and you just realize that everything's you anyways, it's like maybe that makes it easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if you think about it, it's like in every new beginning, there's always abundance, because it's the excitement of going into the unknown. Everything that you step into is all going to be new. So it's all extremely abundant, right? But in this case, it's with the pentacle, meaning usually kind of a good omen. Like a pentacle is all like, I don't know if there are any bad pentacle cards.
No, I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure there's not.
It's usually a good thing. Yeah, for sure.
Right. So yeah, shout out to the Ace of Pentacles. That one was spot on, I think.
Yeah. That's actually the first time I think I drew a card before we even started recording. So
I mean, hey,
it still worked out.
And it matched.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holding something, connecting to it, grounding a little bit, hit on all cylinders there.
Oh yeah.
So, all right, that was great. So now we're going to get into those who have been waiting for the Beaver Moon rituals, the November 2025 Beaver Moon. And the Beaver Moon is actually going to be happening 2 days from now as of time of recording, but this episode is going to be coming out on the Beaver Moon day.
Perfect.
So that's why I thought it was going to be perfect. And usually it lines up like that perfectly, really.
Yeah, it does.
And so it'll be November 5th. So if you're listening to this on November 5th, today's the day of the Beaver Moon. All right. So the November 2025 Beaver Moon, there's folklore, spiritual meaning, and mystical reflections. This is from wickedmystics.com.
Okay.
Anybody that's got mystic in their name, I just trust them for some reason.
You're my friend now.
Yeah. So as the crisp breath of November settles over the land, the moon prepares for one of its most quietly powerful displays of the year, the Beaver Moon. This full moon, set to rise on November 5th of 2025, carries with it centuries of folklore, survival wisdom, and spiritual significance. Unlike the dramatic harvest moon or the mystical allure of October's blood moon, the Beaver Moon has a subtler magic, one rooted in preparation, reflection, and inner stillness. It marks the transition from autumn's fiery glow to winter's deep introspection, reminding us to gather what we need physically, emotionally, and spiritually before the long rest ahead.
Interesting.
This is not exo, it's eso,
yes.
The inner world.
We gotta go inward. Yeah, man.
Yes. So when to see the Beaver Moon in 2025, as I said, it'll be Wednesday, November 5th. And it'll be shining its silver light across the late autumn sky. As the last full moon before winter's arrival, it appears luminous and steady, hanging low over the horizon like a watchful guardian of the coming cold. In other words, as Game of Thrones would say, winter's coming.
Indeed. Yeah.
In the northern hemisphere, nights grow longer and frost begins to cling to the fields. The world quiets, and with that stillness, the beaver moon emerges, a gentle beacon of rhythm and reflection. So why is it called a beaver moon in the first place? And what's funny is that I was just, like, I'm pretty sure I had a dream last night that I was back in high school, like back in Pennsylvania high school, not Louisiana
Beaver
high
High.
school. And yeah, well, I went to Western Beaver High School.
Oh, that's right.
We were the home of the Golden Beavers.
Yeah.
And so it's
Intimidating,
weird, dude.
you know?
And honestly, I was not planning on this show today, right? And so
Right,
it's
of
weird
course.
that dream kind of happened last
Yeah.
night.
Yeah, it is.
Because I said that we had a guest scheduled and canceled literally in the final hour.
Yeah. We had to just throw this together, man.
Usually those are the best ones.
They're fun, man.
Yeah.
There's no pressure. You
No.
know, it's like, hey, let's just see what happens. Let's learn something.
Fucking name. That's all this is all about. So the name Beaver Moon dates back to a time when indigenous peoples and early European settlers used the moon cycles to track seasons and guide their activities. November was the time when beavers became most active, fortifying their lodges and gathering food in preparation for winter. Trappers also set their final beaver traps before the swamps froze, ensuring a supply of warm furs for the colder months ahead. I would feel bad to kill a beaver.
Would you?
Yeah.
I feel bad killing anything except for, like, cockroaches and scorpions. Get out of here.
Yeah, I would feel bad about even killing that nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just at that point where, dude, if everything is conscious and everything is life,
Yeah.
it's like, do I want to be the reason why that thing doesn't get to experience life anymore?
It just goes on to the next life. That's how I look at it. When it comes to a cockroach, I'm like, okay, how could I transmute this? Because I've had that thought too. And I'm like, okay, well, if it's just about reincarnation and energy just kind of gets transferred, I'm just speeding up that transfer into the next life. Like, you don't have to be a cockroach anymore,
Oh, like you're doing it
Maybe
a
you
favor?
get to be a grasshopper. I don't know. I don't know if that's better, but maybe.
Like you're doing it a little favor, almost.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just what's going on in my mind when it happens. But, like, I don't want a big cockroach crawling all over me when I'm trying to sleep.
Oh,
You
yeah. No, not at all.
Yeah, during the
Um,
summer, them things come up through the drain, dude. Like, especially where I am in the city, like,
Yep.
it just happens. Every once in a while, you'll see a big one just chilling in the shower, and it's like,
Oh, they give me the
come on,
heebie-jeebies,
man.
dude.
Yeah,
Heebie-jeebies.
yeah, dude. And then if it flies, forget
Oh,
it.
fuck out of here with that, dude. Get out
It's
of
like,
here.
why do they have to fly?
I mean, you're already, like, disgusting, and then you can escape me faster.
Yes,
No way.
Yes.
But anyhow, back to the beaver. So in the northern hemisphere, I already read that. So why is it called the beaver moon? November became the time that beavers became most active. And so for many Native American tribes, the beaver moon symbolized hard work, preparation, and self-reliance. It marked the moment when nature turned inward and humans were invited to do the same. So other traditional names for this moon include, there are two other names. So instead of just the beaver moon, some people called it the frost moon, honoring the frost that begins to blanket the earth. Makes sense.
Okay.
And then, according to pagan and Wiccan traditions, they called it the mourning moon, like mourning, like mourning the death of something, spelled that way, representing the final letting go before winter's rest.
Interesting.
I actually like that one the most.
Yeah.
So the spiritual meaning of the beaver moon, while its name has practical origins, the beaver moon carries deep spiritual lessons. Symbolically, this full moon embodies preparation, protection, and emotional preservation. The beaver itself is a totem of industriousness and creation. Known for its ability to shape the environment and build strong, protective lodges, the beaver teaches us the power of foresight, persistence, and working in harmony with nature. Spiritually, the beaver moon invites you to three things. Prepare for your inner winter. Oh, inner winter. Just as beavers build shelter, this is the time to build emotional and spiritual safety for the months ahead. It also invites you to reflect and release. So
Yes.
November is a transitional energy, one that asks you to let go of what can't be carried forward.
Let those aspects of you die away. It's like, we don't need you no more.
Dude, shed your ego like it is snakeskin. Automatically, a new one's going to happen.
Yeah, because spring's coming after that.
Yes.
So that's when the
Newness.
new things can develop and grow.
I mean, they already say that literally every molecule of you is shed like snakeskin every 7 years.
Yeah, that was a trip when you told me that. I was
It's
like,
pretty crazy that literally the you that you are now is 100%, not even a hair on your head is the same. Well, especially not your hair, because that's growing out pretty quick, but like your skin molecules and, you know, everything about you, you're not the same person that you were 7 years ago, literally, physically.
Yeah. And I think
Pretty
it's
crazy.
really interesting how all of those cells just kind of, it's not like I don't think that they have to have an understanding of what to do, but it's just crazy that they just know to replicate exactly where they're supposed to be and to mimic what your understanding of what you look like. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't just change. You know, I don't know. Maybe that's the stupidest thing I've ever said. But
No, that's right. It's like, well, they're already reading the energy, so the old and the new are kind of in the same place. And it's like, and it's not like all of it is replaced every 7 years. It's almost like, you know, some things you're doing every year, some things you're doing every 6 months, some things you're doing every 3 years, and so on. And so, you know, that's where people get really trapped in their beliefs, to where it's like you're having beliefs of someone that you're not even anymore.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
like, so now you're just kind of believing in the echo of what you initially believed. So I think that shedding is more than just a physical thing. I think that it's, you know, it's a spiritual thing too.
Right. And you can even go further as far as like the memories that you had. Like even your memory isn't as accurate as you think it is. You know, like you can remember something and go, yeah, this is how it happened. And in reality, it didn't even really happen exactly how you remember. You know, I think that's why people have those Mandela effects, honestly.
Maybe.
I'm willing to accept the fact that we just misremember stuff. You know, like there was this one video I saw recently, and this lady was like blown away and like losing her mind about this Mandela effect that she just heard about, you know, about Charlie Sheen. And I thought he was dead a long time ago, and I'm just blown away that there's a documentary and this and that, and I'm just like, I don't have that memory. You know?
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. I mean, but it is weird. But there are a lot of Mandela effects of which like half, if not more, of the world believe. You know, like there are certain things, and that's where it starts to get a little trickier, because is it your mind that's misremembering, or is it literally half of the world?
Right. Yeah. And I don't know, I guess the way I would maybe explain that is just like, you know, when you're looking at certain shapes and symbols, you know, like you just, I don't know. I don't know how most people would misremember something like that though.
Yeah.
You know, that is a little weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
100%. I don't remember it being called Sex and the City. Miss me with that. My mom watched that whenever I was growing up, and it was always Sex in the City.
That's for, okay. So for that one, I feel like that was exactly, I remember it wrong too. Like they got me on that one.
Maybe.
Like I thought it was what you said, right? But and the only reason why I guess we would misremember it that way is because it just makes more sense if it was in the city, right?
Well, and also there's like
not and the city, but we just misheard it because we thought what we heard made more sense.
Well, there's also a slang that comes with the word "and," to where people will say, it's almost like whenever you go to a gas station, it's like stop and go, and go. And so maybe that's where people got it confused. I'm open to the interpretation, of course. You know, some of them are, you know, like the whole Berenstain Bears and Berenstain Bears. You know, if you go back and listen to the song, of course I remember it being called the Berenstain Bears, right? Like almost everybody does, but it was always called the Berenstain. If you go back and listen to the Berenstain Bears theme song, it was sung by like these country ass bears. And so instead of saying Berenstain Bears, they would say it's the Berenstain Bears, you know?
Right.
And it's like, oh, you just interpreted it that like, oh, they're just country, and that's how they said it.
Right. And see, and I don't think that this takes any of the mystery away or whatever. I think if nothing else, it really just shows kind of how more connected we are. That my brain is a lot like yours when it comes to in the city as opposed to and the city, because in the city just seems to make more sense, right? And so I don't know. I think we're very much the same when it comes to certain things that we hear and we experience. You know?
Oh, dude, you know what's funny is what was the name of that movie that I always what the fuck is his name? He's in Sinbad. That's his name. Okay. That movie was Sinbad, right? and there
The
was
Genie movie.
Kazam and Shazam. And so I always like to have this conversation because I remember as a kid that Sinbad was in one of them, and then they came out with the Shaq one, right? And I remember thinking this thought like, oh, they couldn't get Sinbad for this one. Dude, I remember that thought as a kid. Like that's ingrained into my memory, right?
Yeah, I remember you saying that, like, oh, it's like a shittier version of the Sinbad one.
Yeah,
right?
they had to get Shaq, unfortunately. You know, like that's what I was thinking. And not that I had anything wrong with Shaq, but Sinbad was awesome, you know, especially when we were growing up. And you know, what was that like? He was like the security detail for the president's daughter or something like that.
The first kid.
Kid, yeah. That was an awesome movie, right? And so I was having this conversation with Jacob just last week, and he goes, oh, yeah, you know, talking about Mandela effects, and he's like, you know, it's people that just misremembered. He goes, like, obviously we know that, like, Sinbad was in Shazam, right? Or Kazam or whatever, right?
Right.
And I was like, yeah, we know that, but it didn't happen. He goes, no, it's confirmed. It's happened. I was like, bro, research it. It didn't happen. Right. And he was like, get the fuck out of here. And so it's like, those are the shattering of reality moments to where it's a memory. And I don't know. I think that this reality is just a lot more fluid than we think that it is. And maybe these things are happening. And now I'm not going to die on that hill. You know, I'm open to interpretation, but as far as the Sinbad one, the Monopoly monocle thing.
Monopoly guy got me. Yeah.
Get out of here.
Sinbad wasn't one of those for me.
You're not going to say that, like, I'm just misremembering the peanut guy having the monocle. I would not get those two confused.
Wait, wasn't it the peanut guy that had the monocle, though?
He did, but that's what people say. Oh, you only remember the Monopoly guy having the monocle because you think of the peanut guy. It's like, no. I played Monopoly a lot growing up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he definitely had a monocle. They got us on that one.
And dude, and even in the Jim Carrey movie, Ace Ventura, there's an old guy wearing a monocle, and he calls him the Monopoly guy.
Because he has a monocle. Nothing else.
The same thing with in Tommy Boy, you know, he's talking into the fan, Luke, I am your father. Why would he say that? Yeah. Why would he say that? And the same thing, dude, they're just fucking running through my mind now, but like Forrest Gump, right? Yeah. Mama always said life is like a box of chocolates, right?
Correct.
And turns out that's not even what he said, right? In the movie. Never said it. Except,
what was it that he actually said?
I can't remember. It's close to that, but it's not that. Okay. But what's funny is that, you know, back used to be that the movies would come in VHSs, and then on the back you'd be able to read like what it was about, right? And on the back, it is a quote that is on the back that says, Mama like always said life was like a box of chocolates, right? So why would it be quoted on the back of the fucking movie, but it's never said in the movie? It's never said.
Yeah,
it's
that's like, weird.
That's so weird. Strange.
Yeah, it's just like who knows, dude.
Anyway, all right, we went all the way off the hinges there for a second, but that's all right. We're going to get right back. Another spiritual meaning of the beaver moon, you want to be able to reconnect with nature. So the beaver moon encourages grounding and gratitude for the abundance that has sustained you throughout the year already.
Okay.
It's a good thing.
I like it.
The moon's energy is not fiery or fast. It's slow, deliberate, and wise, like the flow of a quiet river beneath the first layer of ice. I like it. So there are a couple of mystical practices and rituals for the beaver moon.
All right.
As the November night sky fills with moonlight, it's the perfect time to honor this moon with grounding rituals. Here are a few ways to connect to the beaver moon's spiritual energy. Number 1 is cleansing and letting go ritual. Okay.
Makes sense.
The beaver moon is about release. Write down habits, relationships, or patterns that you're ready to release before winter. Burn the paper safely under the moonlight and bury the ashes, symbolizing renewal and peace.
See, and I think this is something that, because you can do this, and I've tried it, and I felt like for a couple days that I felt something different. I actually kind of noticed an actual change in just the way I was thinking about certain things, but then I felt like it kind of faded. And I think that that's something that just happens. And so I think you should do it as often as you can, you know, like maybe once a week even. It doesn't even have to be that particular moon. Sure, it probably helps because everybody already believes in that's how that would work. But I feel like if you just do this over and over, and just if something, maybe an intrusive thought or an old belief that doesn't serve you comes back, then do that thing again and do it again and do it again until it's gone. I feel like the more you work that muscle,
Well, and that's usually what the full moon rituals are all for. It's for like being able to take all of your negative energy and place it literally in the abundance of the moon, because what comes, after is that it starts to wane,
Right.
and then as it's waning, you're supposed to imagine it slowly, slowly, slowly fading away.
Right. And I understand that, and it makes perfect sense. But I was just saying, as far as like, don't feel like you have to wait until the next beaver moon or the next whatever in order to do that. You can reprogram yourself without having it to be some outside thing.
Yeah, if you feel that you need that, for sure,
Yeah.
like 100%. But usually with these rituals, you want to know that you did the ritual exactly right and that it's going to work, and have faith that it is not only going to work, but it is currently working. And so every time you would have that thought about that, be like, in your mind,
No,
you would say,
I did that thing
I already carried
Yeah.
out the actual legwork of whatever it was. I did what I needed to do. It is slowly fading away now.
Right. This is just some residual shit that I'm dealing with now.
Right. Well, and they actually say, especially within the Magician, that like, you're supposed, like, whenever you do a ritual or some kind of magic or whatever, you're not even supposed to think about it anymore. Like set it free and let it do its job, kind of thing,
Yeah.
So I mean, there's many different ways of looking at it, for sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, fun times. So, all right. So you want to, that's the cleanse and letting go ritual. Next, we have create a winter nest. So prepare your sacred space for the colder months. Cleanse your home with incense or herbs. Add cozy textures, candles, and protective symbols. The beaver moon reminds us that comfort is sacred, not indulgent. All right, good one. Next one you have is the water element meditation. As a creature of rivers and wetlands, the beaver is tied to the element of water, the realm of emotions and intuition. So sit near a body of water, or you can just place a bowl of water under your moonlight and meditate on emotional flow. You want to ask yourself, what am I holding that's blocking my peace? This entire thing, it's all about letting go. You're preparing for winter to come where things die, Then the final one is a moon bath or a tea ritual. So soak in a moonlit bath infused with rosemary, sage, and sea salt, or sip on a tea blend made with chamomile and cinnamon. Use this time to restore your energy and honor your body's need for rest. I'm in the process of getting ready to buy a house, right? And I've never had really a place to where I can, take down a wall or put up whatever, right? Because I've always rented. But I always wondered like how awesome it would be to have one of those skylights in your bathroom, because what if you do like have, you want to do like a ritual bath or something like that underneath a full moon. And then you have that skylight right there and you're able to look up at the moon as you're taking a bath.
Right.
That would be sick.
And you know what else too, as far as like drawing up a bath, right? I feel like there's even more going on there as far as your psychology goes, is because usually, like, let's say you're in a hurry, right? And you're taking a shower, you jump in, you do what you got to do, and you jump out. But if you're drawing a bath, you're filling up the tub, it's like you're already putting more magic and more intention into that self-care. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've got to wait probably, I don't know, 5 minutes, for the bath to fill up or whatever. And so doing the candles and doing, making everything comfortable, it's like you're almost rewiring some part of your brain that you are taking care of yourself. You're putting that extra time in rather than just kind of rushing through it.
Yeah. This is you time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not to be considered like that you're just being selfish with it, because a lot of people put self-care to the side and they worry about everybody else. Maybe you got kids, maybe you're married, whatever, right? And sometimes you feel a little selfish doing for you, but dude, you can't be pouring from an empty cup.
Yeah. It's not a
very
selfish
important
thing. We usually put that to the side because we think, like you said, that it's a selfish thing, taking that extra time for yourself. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, dude. So, a couple of fun things here. So, there are folklore and legends of the beaver moon as well. So, ancient cultures often viewed the beaver moon as a turning point in the year, a time when the veil between physical and spiritual energy shifted inward, which is interesting because it's right after Halloween where the veil was the thinnest, right?
Yep.
So, it's shifting from that physical reality to like, all right, now it's time to go inward. The sun is
Inner
starting
world,
to go
baby.
down and the moon is coming up. And
Yep.
you know, like, or if you want to look at it this way, the sun is going farther away, so there's less heat, more things are dying because the thing's farther away. And so now you can almost use that as a euphemism towards yourself.
Right.
So it says in Native American tradition, the beaver moon was a time of gratitude for nature's balance. The beaver was not hunted recklessly. Its industrious energy was honored as a teacher of survival and harmony.
Mhm.
They do build some pretty badass dams. Like if you ever see some of them, it's like, that's impressive.
I haven't actually.
They're awesome.
Not
Yeah.
around here.
Yeah, you're out in Arizona. In Pennsylvania, saw them all the time.
All right.
In Celtic and European folklore, the beaver moon was often associated with home magic, spells and blessings to protect the hearth through the winter. It was believed that lighting candles and reciting prayers beneath the full moon would bless the home with warmth and safety. Witches and pagans later adopted this moon as a symbol of the crone's wisdom. The old witch,
Oh,
right?
right. All right.
Maiden Mother Crone. A symbol of the crone's wisdom, the final phase of the triple goddess. It represents the waning of the year when wisdom, patience, and inner sight replace action and growth.
Wow. That's
How
cool.
about that? Oh, this is interesting. The astrology of the astrology and the beaver moon. So the November 2025 beaver moon will fall in the sign of Taurus. Shout out.
Hey, there you go.
Amplifying themes of stability, grounding, and sensual gratitude. Taurus energy reminds us to slow down and enjoy the simple beauty of life, the warmth of a blanket, the taste of seasonal foods, and the sound of wind through bare trees. Astrologically, this moon encourages us to reconnect with the physical world and release fears of scarcity. It's about trusting that, like the beaver, you have built what you need to endure the winter, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You may feel drawn to simplify your life, strengthen boundaries, or indulge in grounding rituals that bring you back into alignment with nature. All right.
Dude,
there we
love it.
go. Legit.
Not just gratitude, sensual gratitude. You know, don't get it twisted.
I mean, hey, dude. And sensual doesn't necessarily mean sexy time or anything like that. It's just, you know, spiritually kind of going all in.
Like you mean it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, fuck me like you love me. You know what I mean? It's
Alright,
one of those
alright.
situations.
All right.
But yeah, all right. Well, I guess it's time for the moonology oracle reading. This is
Let's
going to
do
be
it.
fun. It's been a while
Alright.
since we pulled one of these bad boys.
Yeah, it has.
You know, it's actually like a really popular deck. A lot of people use this moonology deck because I
Makes
always used to see it as, you know, a lot of people, you know, they give oracle readings and tarot readings on TikTok and YouTube and stuff like that. So
Yep.
give me 1 minute and I'll shuffle these bad boys up. We'll see what comes out.
All right.
All right, here we go. We got the card right here
Okay.
that says New Moon in Taurus, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, it's not a full moon in Taurus, but it's a new moon in Taurus, and it says, Know your worth.
Ooh. All right. Talk to me.
All right, you're on the right track, but you need to go steadily. Knowing that you're worthy of your desires is crucial here. Opportunities open up when you believe in yourself, so dig deep and move past negative comments from others. No matter what happened in the past, if you're aiming to manifest something for the good of everyone concerned, you can do it. Good self-esteem will also boost your manifesting powers, so love yourself more. Know your own worth, and others will too. Be true to your values.
Dude,
Solid.
I love it. I love
Um,
it.
So the manifesting focus would be this card is especially a good sign for matters related to property, possessions, sensuality. There we go.
Hey.
Love, self-belief, and self-worth. So you would want to acknowledge and make a list of your best traits. If you find that hard to do, ask a friend to tell you what's great about you. So if you're trying to, okay, we don't need to read that part. All right. So yeah,
That's
shout
a
out
solid
to
one, man.
the new moon in Taurus to know your worth.
Speaking to my soul. you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, don't let others define you because most of the time those people have a hard time defining themselves.
Exactly. And for that matter, don't let your ego define you either. You know, because you can define yourself in not such a great light as well. you know.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that was solid readings. Solid show too. I had a lot of fun in this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, it was a good one, man. It's been a minute since we've talked about some of the Claires, you know, so it was good to get back to some of that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, look, we did want to say, if you guys want to give us a follow over at YouTube, just go check out youtube.com/metamystics. That link is down in the show notes below. It really helps push out the algorithm and stuff like that. Every time somebody likes and shares and comments underneath, really helps. And if you want to be able to get access to those shows as soon as they drop on YouTube, be sure to hit the bell, and it'll send you a notification every time a new one is dropped. But we also have Patreon. If you want to be able to get those shows a couple of days in advance, you want to be able to listen to it completely ad-free the entire way through. You'll also be able to join us on every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central for the Wonder Wiz Day. So if you like having these kind of conversations, maybe you want to talk to whoever we have on. There's always a fun guest. If there's not a fun guest, it's usually a fun topic that we like to dive into. So a lot of goodness that can come from that. And dude, the highest tier is only $8.88 a month. But if you want to if you're not very interested in joining on the live shows, we have a tier that gives you access to literally everything else. You'll be able to slide right into our DMs, ask us literally whatever. Maybe you have a suggestion for a show or something like that. Dude, that tier is only $3.33 a month.
That's the best, dude. I'm due for a Wonder Wiz Day myself, personally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's time.
You know?
It's time. And we actually, coming up, are going to have an awesome Wonder Wiz Day. So whenever this episode drops, you'll be invited to come and join us for that Wednesday night, which we will be having a witch on the show. A witch that we have never had on before. But somebody I think that most people are going to vibe with. Very awesome, very open, and she's really good at interpreting things. She was one of the very first psychic readings that I ever got from anybody. And that message still sticks with me to this day. Wow. And so once I told her that, and this was years ago. I mean, it was like the first year that I created the cult. We talked to her, right?
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so really, really awesome stuff. A lot to look forward to. A lot of amazing guests. So we're going to have her on, the witch. Her name is Destiny. She's going to be coming this Wonder Wiz Day. And if you want to get access to the next Wonder Wiz Day, your boy Optimistic Banks is coming back.
Yes, dude. Oh, man. I love talking to him, dude, every time.
I know.
Every time we get done talking to him, I'm like, like I literally feel just a little bit more optimistic. Like, no shit.
Yeah, just vibrating a little higher,
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
So just a couple of things to look forward to. Also, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcast, or you can actually even download the Spreaker podcast app and listen to it on there too. Bunch of different podcast apps out there. We just upload our shows to Spreaker and then it distributes everywhere. But, Spreaker, obviously that's our favorite one. But, on any of those, if you leave a review, leave a comment, have a like, or even if you just listen, it honestly helps in every single way. But the more that you do, the more that it's going to help with the algorithm. So we really appreciate all of the one that have done that so far. So, I think now we're going to get over to the meditation, and I would imagine it has something to do with a moon or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm remote viewing the moon for sure. Like, I'm just going there,
There's no reason not to.
Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
So, look, if you want to come meditate, the only place to be able to do that is with us over at Patreon. So go and check that link down in the show notes below. Of course, if you're not into meditating, maybe you're listening to this on your way to work, understandable, then you can actually skip past that. Or if you're just listening to Spotify, we don't put the meditations on there anyway. So you'll be able to just listen to the final couple seconds of the outro music, and then we'll share what we experienced in said meditation. And, that way you're not missing out. So,
and we never know where it's going to go either. That's what makes it more interesting. I have no idea where it's going to go.
It's usually a last second kind of decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, dude, come check us out. We really appreciate you guys listening to this episode, and, we're ready. Dude, these episodes are only going to be coming out more and more often. We are now up to 3 episodes a week. Within the next year, they will be up to 5.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
And there's no shortage of information and things that we, our intuition tells us there's something to it, but let's find out more. You know what I mean? That's where we're going. That's what we're trying to do.
That's the way right there too. Also, before we go to the meditation, I did want to say, look, we have Instagram, we have TikTok. If you want to come over there and just see little shorts of every episode, we try and put up a new short every single day. That way, if people want to be able to, maybe you want to see what we look like and I always hear like people that tune into the shows, they're like, dude, you look nothing like I thought you did.
I'd be so disappointed, but it's okay. You know what I mean? Now you know.
I'm
You know?
sorry. You know, Mama always said I got a
I'm
voice made for
sorry.
radio, you know?
Right.
Or a face for radio, rather. So yeah, either way, look, come check us out. We really appreciate all the activity. We really appreciate everybody in every single way. So thank you. But look, what we like to say is if Clairtangency came here and it taught you anything, it's that you don't know what you don't know. So don't just get weird.
Stay weird.
Short and sweet, Sean, wasn't that? That was a good one.
It was perfect. It was perfect, man. Man, it's just nothing like a meditation, dude, that just brings you back to baseline, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you're supposed to be feeling all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you realize how much external, you know, the external things that are getting to you, or, you know, I don't know, man, all the outside sounds and just worry. But when you go in there, man, your whole body is just exactly how it's supposed to be. When you're feeling like, imagine your blood pressure and the way your muscles are just nice and relaxed and cool, and you're calm and collected. Imagine just living your life like that. You're living to 120 at least, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's almost like getting an oil change. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
man.
that's how refreshing and clean and, you know, free of all the clutter and everything that you feel.
Yeah, the blood flow just feels like I honestly feel like my vascular system is like opened up and it's just flowing the way it's supposed to. You know, it's
Probably
not
is.
like hypertensioned out and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, there's something about just stop worrying about the exterior influences of your life,
Mhm.
whether it be people or just things or what you think about exterior whatever things that are outside of
Mhm.
your body, and it just gives you a moment to go all the way in, and it's like, man, that's who you are. You know, like
Mhm.
what you experience whenever you are deep in meditation to the core, that is you.
Yeah. The closest to yourself you'll ever be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. One might say sensual.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. That's preferable, you know.
I'd say so.
Sensual.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what? This was a fun one. I really enjoyed. And I love learning about newer psychic abilities because, look, I mean, for the most part, if you don't know, then you like if you're not aware that that's a thing, then you might think you're crazy, you know.
Mhm.
Or if you never hear about it, you never practice it. And
Mhm.
so, like, and I believe personally, this is just a personal thing. I believe that all of these things are practicable.
Mhm.
Like in all of these things we can attain if it's all one. And if
Yeah.
one person can do it, anybody can do it. Now we're talking about spiritual things, right? We're not talking about if you can dunk, not talking about if
Right.
you can throw a football 80 yards, not talking
Right.
about if you can throw a baseball 105 like Randy Johnson, you know,
Right.
and killing pigeons and
Hitting that
whatnot.
bird. That's exactly what I was
Yeah.
thinking about. Yeah. Crazy.
It's everybody has that internal thing, that
Mhm.
place where we can go where it quiets everything else and allows you to be with you, the real you. And
Mhm.
everybody can do that. And if you can do that, then that opens the door to these kind of psychic abilities.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As far as like any experience other than just being blissed out like completely, man. Within the first few minutes I had like just this thought or this understanding that like my higher self or my older self was just like, hey man, like it's gonna be okay. You know what I mean? Like I know you're worried, you're stressed out, you're thinking about all these things, but like this is what you'll end up being like once you kind of let go of all of that stupid external or even bullshit internal things you got going on or whatever. It's like it's okay, you know. And I think that's kind of cool if you really like try to utilize that. And it's yourself, you know, it's your older self, it's your more enlightened self kind of coming to you and being like, hey, it's gonna be good, you know what I mean? It's gonna be fun. Just like let go and just let it happen. You know,
Yeah.
that's kind of like the one little thing I experienced. And then I I don't know. I started thinking about like the moon, and the light hitting the moon, and then I started to think about energy and how energy can't be created nor destroyed. So then I went into like reincarnation, and like that has to be a thing, if nothing else. The energy that is me has always been here, and so has probably been, has probably had other experiences. That energy just wasn't called Sean, but the
Yeah.
energy nonetheless.
Whatever you are at your core, whatever you experience as you in deep meditation is the thing that goes on.
Yes. Yeah. That's the old ones.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing, is that you can get access to a lot of wisdom in there. That's where the basis of gnosis comes from, because gnosis isn't learned, it's felt, it's experienced. Like these are not something that you're having to rely on ancient scribes for. Maybe the technique on how to get that deep or how to achieve these kinds of things, but you're learning techniques. It's not until you feel into that and you experience that you then become the fucking wizard, dude.
Yeah, dude. That's where it is. That's where you find it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, dude, fun stuff. Love it. I was able to, I kind of experienced the same thing in a sense. Like I saw the full moon and I was imagining, the light that was coming off of it. And I was trying to imagine, like, is it receiving the sun's light or is it giving off its own, whatever, and
It's receiving the sun's light.
That's what they say anyway. But
next time real quick, not to cut you off. Next time the moon is out during the day and it's like a half a moon and the moon is the light's coming kind of like from the bottom, but you can tell it's like a crescent moon. Get like a baseball or any ball and hold it up in the air. And the light from the light that's hitting the moon is going to be replicated on the light hitting the ball that you're holding. And you're going to be like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there are things that you can do to find that out. I'm just saying, I to be honest, I really don't care.
You're
like
just open
even
to it.
I just
You're
don't even
open to
care
the light.
enough.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, the light that's coming from the moon is obviously different than the light that's coming from the sun. It's going through some kind of filter. And maybe if you want to look at it, well, the moon is filtering the sun's light, and that's why the moonlight is cooler than the sunlight.
I actually looked into that. And there's an actual answer for that. I don't know if you want to hear it or not.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
Okay, so from what I looked into, and I'm probably going to butcher it, I'm not going to have the right terminology, but basically when there's an open sky, the energy or the heat from like the sidewalk, let's say, is able to escape much more rapidly. And when there's shade, there's less open sky. And so it's actually going to kind of not harness, but it's going to kind of keep that energy from escaping as quickly. And so the moon shade is going to be a little bit warmer. But as far as like the moonlight coming and hitting the sun, it's like 1 400,000th of the actual like power of the sun. So you're not actually going to have a temperature change that's actually you're not going to be able to sense it really. So It's like reflected light from the moon. But as far as the temperature change from the shade to just the moonlight, in the moonlight, it's going to be cooler because that area doesn't have anything over it keeping energy from escaping, into the open sky. At least that's what I read.
Okay, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the case.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. We can
maybe.
go with that.
Maybe.
But either way, it's like, it's still cool because you're receiving light from another source that isn't the sun. And so whenever you go out there and, and obviously the moon affects the tides and, there's just the fact that it's stuck in orbit. And then there's ancient civilizations that talk about the time before the moon was in the orbit, right? Like,
who's to say? Yeah. Who's to say?
Maybe
if there was ever a time where we didn't have a moon that humans were able to observe. Possibly, maybe.
It's very well possible. Yeah. I mean, that's about as good as relying on, I don't know, Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Noah's Ark.
All right, I'll take it. I mean, if that's the lore, okay. But yeah, just trying to really be in the energy of the moon, right? And just allowing that to reflect onto me, onto my light body, as it was saying. Or your energetic body, and and just soaking up all of the ambiance of the moon itself. And if the full moon is known for kind of soaking up what needs to be thrown away, then just I was allowing it to filter, like scan my entire body for any kind of negativities whatsoever. And then whenever she said to hold your hands out and imagine whatever it is you're trying to give up to the moon to disperse of, whatever that is. And for me, I'm not somebody that, that ever comes across like anxiety and depression, but since being out in Arizona away from my kids, I've been experiencing a lot of it. And, so I just held both of those up, anxiety in one hand, depression in the other, and just like let the moon take it. And, I mean, all right, you did it. You did the ritual, and it can only help. It's not going to hurt it.
No, not at all, dude. Not at all. It's like a muscle, dude. Like I said, the more you do these things, the more you accept it.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a more of not even just accepting it, but believing it, because obviously the first time you do any kind of moon magic, I would say the first time you do anything like spiritual or religious, you kind of feel dumb doing it. I remember my first time ever.
You're faking it, you're pretending.
Like my first time I ever meditated, I was like, man, who am I to think that I can do this? Like that was my first thought. Now we're meditating 3 times a week, at least. Yeah. Yep. It's like, so it is kind of, it's just taking that first step. All of it is really. And just going with whatever comes to your mind. And a lot of times that information that is coming, maybe you're pulling it down from the ether, maybe you're pulling it down from the field, and regardless of wherever it's coming from, if the information is good, just take it and accept it. And that message was for you in that moment.
Yeah. Ultimately, if it makes your life better, then go for it.
Hell yeah,
you're not harming somebody else, and you feel better for it, and you accept it, and you know what I mean? That's it. That's where the goods are.
Yeah, dude. So, I mean, all right. Well, fun episode. I guess we will see y'all on the flip side, and we love you.
Bye, guys.